Good morning, pop culture. We are live at 7:45 a.m. on July 11th, 2018. We got a pretty good show for you lined up this morning. There's all kinds of stuff to talk about in terms of the entertainment world. We'll talk about this Rian Johnson hate mob, the thing you see in front of us, why they are petitioning not to kill off Lando Calrissian. There's all kinds of fun stuff to talk about. We got some Comic-Con news. We got some information on Joaquin Phoenix playing the Joker. The entertainment world is a shit show currently, and we're here to make fun of it. So, as people file in, morning to everybody. Hello, good afternoon. Jiggity woohoo to you too as well. No, we're not early today. We're right on time, thankfully. I got a late start after a really long high council last night. If you haven't had a chance to listen to it, please do. We had the legendary Ivan Ortega on there, and he was discussing his fan edit of The Last Jedi. And I got access to a rough cut, so that's kind of cool. Actually, it's very cool because Ivan's very, very, very talented. So expect that guy to be the future of the editing world. But he's also a really fun guy to talk to, very polite, very kind. He's just a new addition to, I guess, the high council community. I don't even know if we have a name yet, but he was there, and he was awesome. Thank you, the wolf. Billy D. If Disney gets her way, Billy dead. That's fucked up, but I like it. You guys can crap on Kathleen Kennedy and Rian Johnson all you want. I'm going to talk about Rian Johnson right now. It's a little prelude to the video I'm working on. Sometimes the production of these videos gets a little held up thanks to this little thing called life, but don't worry. It's going to be here before you know it. Only saw half of it, huh? Wow, Idia Hugima, thank you very much for this early and generous super chat. Solo already tanking in Japan, second weekend down to 190,000 viewers. In 2 weeks, only 900,000 people watched it. Jurassic World coming out on the weekend. Solo might end week three below 100K. Ooh. You know, that is kind of sad. Well, that's kind of sad. It's very sad. I mean, this is Star Wars. This used to be the Cadillac of brands, but no longer is it that. But you know what? It's funny you bring up Solo, because I had something I wanted to bring up about Solo too. We'll talk about this one first. So, as the film's flailing in other parts of the world, and it seems like Japan likes Star Wars. There's all kinds of Japanese Star Wars products. I think Star Wars debuted in 78 in Japan, so it's been there essentially since the beginning, because Star Wars didn't debut on May 25th, 1977 on a worldwide release. Didn't even get, I don't think, a full American release. It was in 30 theaters, and then it got really popular. So, by the way, thanks to everyone who says they're glad to hear me this morning. I'm glad to be here, glad to talk about entertainment, drink my coffee. Today I ate some blueberries, and entertain you fine folks for the next 2 hours and change. So as we roll up to our 200th viewer and we start talking about a main feature, to get back to Idia Hugima's thing, his super chat, Jurassic World, from what I'm hearing from people that are close to me, it's a lesser film than Solo, but it's doing better in the box office. I'm not going to go see Jurassic World 2 or Fallen Kingdom or whatever it's called. Not a Jurassic Park fan. Dinosaurs just don't do it for me. And Solo was just okay at the best. But everybody seemed to like Jurassic World, or whatever the last one was from a couple years ago that made $1.5 billion and all this shit. And then this one seems to be carrying over somewhat positively. It'll be interesting how number 3 is received. That'll be the real key factor. You can link that to Star Wars. Everyone keeps talking about The Last Jedi made X amount less than The Force Awakens, even though that one was well received. I disagree that it was as well received as people think. I think people got sold on the hype and the nostalgia, and then they saw it and were like, oh. So after a while, they kind of just, the magic wore off, and they didn't go back. And wait till the magic wears off for episode 9. That's going to be the most exciting day of my life. Hyperbole. But Idia Hugima, since you brought up Solo, a Star Wars story, let's look at the rumored release date. So from CBR, the butthole of the internet, it says that the Digital Bits retail sources claim that Solo, a Star Wars story, will hit Blu-ray shelves on September 25th, exactly 4 months after the film was released in theaters. Now, how many of you guys out there are excited to pick up Solo on Blu-ray? I'm not going to buy it at all. No, thank you. I did see that Infinity War is coming out on digital before it hits Blu-ray in August. I'm definitely going to be waiting for the Blu-ray. I'll be honest, I love that movie, but I'm probably going to wait till it goes to like Black Friday specials because for as much as I enjoyed the film, I don't really want to throw down, $24 or $34 right away. Plus, I don't have my entertainment system hooked up currently, so I'll be waiting. Chicago rules. Everyone keeps saying, I've seen that a couple times. There's nothing wrong with Chicago. I like the food. I've always, what? Unlike Texas, where I've never had a good time there, I've never had a bad time in Chicago. If enough people care, I'll tell you the Great Chicago Pizza Tour. I'll tell you that story at the end of the show. Paul McBride. Dion should do a one-off weekly rant through Rant Epic. Thursday's Rant Epic. Yeah, he will do a weekly rant on every week's show of world-class bullshitters, the epitome of pop culture. So if you want to hear Dion Green, the man with the plan, the original 10, and my best friend go off on something or someone, make sure that you listen to the podcast each week. And if you'd like to suggest a rant or show him something that'll piss him off, go to the Facebook page, tag him in a post, and we'll see what happens. But Paul McBride, I agree with you. Dion should do more rants. Let's see. We had a couple more. Idio Hugima again. Thank you very much for your generous super chat. Want to know what's worse for Solo? It now gets outperformed by Shoplifters, a Jurassic Park movie with a $7 million U.S. budget. Shoplifters still had 190K viewers after 4 weeks. I think it's always embarrassing when a smaller film outperforms a bigger film, because the bigger film, in essence, or in theory, has a bigger audience, nostalgia, all kinds of stuff. And it doesn't seem like Solo has that. Now, people will argue, oh, it's just the character of Han Solo. He's not that interesting. People don't really like Han Solo. And I'd say those people are just flat out wrong. Those people don't get it, that Han Solo is one of the selling factors of The Force Awakens. That's why people went to see that movie, because Harrison Ford, the real Han Solo, was there. People got excited. You had the real Princess Leia. You had the real Luke Skywalker. You had those characters coming back. Maybe Disney learned the hard way that nobody else can play Han Solo. No one else can play Luke. No one else can play Leia. It only works when Harrison, Carrie, and Mark are the leads. So, this Shoplifters movie, which is a Japanese film with a $7 million budget, beating Solo, is embarrassing. People would argue, well, these domestic movie in Japan would do better than an international movie. I don't know about that. Secondly, I think back to 2007, where there was a movie called Waitress with Kerry Russell, the woman that was now cast in Star Wars Episode 9, the first. Well, she's skinny, she's white, she's brunette, so she looks like every other woman in these damn movies. But I remember seeing an article about that, how it's coming out the same day as Spider-Man 3, the then biggest movie ever. And people were talking about how its quality will usurp Spider-Man 3 and it'll have a longer legacy. Well, Spider-Man 3 did kind of suck, but it still beat the shit out of Waitress. No one's really heard of Waitress. Maybe you've seen the commercial for the play. But sometimes the bigger picture can outdo in terms of box office, or the smaller picture can outdo in terms of box office. So there we go. Rocket Insano, that's a cool name. They got woke, so they go broke. Boom. I agree 100%. Rocket Insano. Cool icon, too. Damien talking about the people's elbow. Yeah, I agree with you 100%, my friend. Nicholas Glenn, good morning. You see the random out of the blue live stream between Gigi and Mundane Matt, $3 Theater, after the High Council last night. It was pretty interesting. I didn't. I hung around with Ivan Ortega for a little bit, and because I have this morning show, I have to go to bed at a decent hour, and I stress decent. 1 o'clock's not that early. It's not early at all, actually. But yeah, I had to get some sleep so I could be here this morning, because if I overslept, you guys would be pissed. I know one of the listeners was like, "Hey, I just got a cup of coffee. I'm waiting here for you to start." And I'm like, "Oh man, do I start early? At least I'm on time." So no, I didn't see the Geeks and Gamers Mundane Matt chat. I don't plan on ever watching it either. I don't really know what to expect from it. You guys want to give me the footnotes or the cliff notes or whatever the hell that notes you want to give me? Yeah, I'll check it out, what you have to say, and respond to that. But I'm not going to spend 90 minutes listening to them go back and forth, because Jeremy's awesome. I really don't dislike Mundane Matt. I just don't care. I don't have time for it. All right. So Logan Michael, thank you. First off, Raven Heartless, thank you very much. Good morning. Logan Michael, what's the point of a Han Solo movie? First off, Logan Michael, thank you very much. The point of a Han Solo movie is to make money off the backs of the longtime fans who loved Han Solo and wanted to see the character for one more run. Now, there are multiple reasons why I think it failed. First off, Alden Ehrenreich. Secondly, the troubled production history. Third, the lack of faith in Disney Star Wars. And fourth, the fact that it's an origin story. An origin story. Listen to Han Solo and Chewbacca. Well, listen to Han Solo talk about how he and Chewbacca got out of worse places and this and that when they talk about like previous adventures. Why not show them cool in a previous adventure? Why show Han weak and insecure? It's trying to build up a hero thing. It isn't even an SJW topic. It's essentially bad movie making 2017 edition, where they keep trying to tell you the damn origin of these characters. This isn't a Marvel movie. They're not building a universe. This is Han Solo. I don't give a shit where he comes from, how he felt, who he loved. I don't like that they did it with James Bond either, where we had to find, well, I mean, in the book it's different. The Casino Royale book's a little different, but we'll stick with Solo. I don't like how they made him into something he wasn't meant to be. George Lucas had the good sense to keep Han Solo out of the prequels entirely. No references, no mentions whatsoever. Just he pops up in the first Star Wars movie, and it was awesome. Best one. Best character in that movie. Well, yeah, Darth Vader's better in Empire Strikes Back. But Han Solo is a very interesting, compelling character. I don't believe that Alden Ehrenreich would evolve into that Han Solo in a few short years. Let's see. Paul McBride, you and Jeremy need to do a full The Force Awakens debate finally. Oh, God, I got to rewatch that fucking... I don't want to... Look at Paul. We'll get to it this year, I promise you. We'll do it. Maybe we could do it live at Star Wars Celebration, too. Like, we can have one on the internet for everyone who couldn't make it to the show live. But maybe we'll put on a show for you guys, a debate. We'll let Uncle Ehe, Triple XL Uncle Ehe, be the judge. By the way, folks, if you don't know who Triple XL Uncle Ehe is, got to listen to last night's High Council. Next week, it's going to be on my channel, World Class Bullshitters. That's going to be awesome. And I also got the Last Jedi live stream, so that's also going to be awesome. So if you don't have a plan for Friday night, listen to us torture ourselves with the garbage that is known as Star Wars Episode 8, The Last Jedi. Moo Butt. I just like that name. Let's see. People rolling in. You're going to get Infinity War on Blu-ray. So one day I'll email you the digital code if you want. Well, Lime Green Hulk, if you want to do something so generous, I'd greatly appreciate it. I will definitely watch it that way. But you don't have to. Just saying. Just saying. So it looks like we're finally caught up on the Super Chat. So thank you to everyone so far. I do like your questions and comments, so keep them rolling in. But I wanted to bring up one more thing about this Solo Blu-ray, where it's not even a thing to bring up. It's more of a question. So we've seen The Force Awakens at clearance outlets last year when it was still new. We've seen The Last Jedi on a clearance at Kroger for $9.99. What do you think is the amount of time it will take for Solo to get on clearance? So it comes out September 25th. I say on Black Friday it is a $7.99 movie. And then I say after that, we'll eventually see the first bargain discount Star Wars film in perpetuity. They're not going to be able to milk a premium out of this version of Star Wars. And I mean all of this Disney Star Wars stuff. Yes, The Force Awakens made a whole bunch of money, but it doesn't... You know what? It's like the Titanic. You know, it was this big, luxurious ship with all these people on board, and it launched its maiden voyage, and it started out great. So let's say the first couple days, But Disney Star Wars is the Titanic. And now we've hit the iceberg with the Force or the Last Jedi, and Solo is the beginning of the ship. You know what? Solo's where the ship cracked in half, and now the rest is just sinking into the ocean. Let's see. I don't know if Last Jedi, that's all for free. So, see a lot of people talking. It's hi from Scotland. I see a lot of people talking about the looks like the Geeks and Gamers thing from last night. Yeah, just check it out, guys. If you want to discuss it, awesome. Make sure you check it out. So it'll be $20 one day and $5 the next. Talk about a terrible investment. I wouldn't be surprised if it gets historically low shipment orders. It'll be interesting to see if wow, can't speak this morning. Sorry, it's early. It'll be interesting if Lucasfilm Disney, there we go, got it right that time. If they're just going to push this out in higher numbers and hope to flood the market and make more sales because people will see Star Wars, or they're just not going to do it. They're just going to be like, we're going to put it out in a limited release. Not even a limited release, just a basic release. It's not going to get the hype, the pomp, and circumstance. They're done funneling money into this. American Trent 421, I'm glad you considered it a success last night. I appreciate it. And a victory over Jeremy. It was impromptu. And I say this not in a bragging way, but the entire debate, I was watching a wrestling match. So I wasn't even like looking up numbers or anything. I was watching The Rock fight Chris Jericho. So there we go. Logan Michael, thank you very much for your super chat. I would pay 69 cents for a Solo DVD. Is that a movie or something else you're talking about? That sounds like a ZJ, and if you have to ask, you can't afford it. Yeah, I see about turning off the bootleg of Solo. I watched it for the channel, and you heard our review. It was just a movie. I've seen worse. I've seen much better, especially this year. Midnight Cherry TV. I bet Geeks and Gamers doesn't even know who the shoveler is. I bet you're right. He probably doesn't know who the shoveler is. So it's a good bet to make. You know, if you need someone with a wide array of Mystery Men knowledge, you come to me, or I go to Midnight Cherry TV. It's just the those are the two experts on the subject. Got the movie on DVD as well as VHS. I'm looking at the DVD right now. Mystery Men doesn't get the love it deserves. I want a 4K Ultra HD release of Mystery Men with a 27-hour documentary on Janine Garofalo. Just put it out there. I will watch the shit out of it. So that will be free with a pack of tampons. You guys are the best. I shovel well. I like the Waffler. Golden Crispy, bad guy, or Golden Crispy, bad guys in history. And his truth syrup. Now, somebody mentioned that Walmart is pissed at Disney for putting all the Star Wars merchandise in the retail chain, the channel, and kind of clogging it. I have noticed that Walmart will just not put Star Wars stuff in the toy aisle. And then they'll move on to other stuff. There's this weird off-brand toy that I see has a much bigger selection at one of my local Walmarts over Star Wars. Now, I keep saying this. I said it yesterday. The next couple months for Star Wars toys is a very barren wasteland of just nothingness. There's one line coming out, one wave that looks interesting. It's there's a 6-inch Bespin Han Solo and a couple other figures, and they're gonna be kind of hard to find. I'll look up Han Solo, but other than that, you're gonna get a couple of repacks and stuff. And it's not to see. There's not much after that. There's a few of these vintage line figures that are hard to find already, and they're mostly repacks. So it'll be weird if you have a kid that's about 3 now, 3 to 4, maybe going on 5, trying to get into Star Wars. You're gonna probably either go to like your bargain discount stores to find them, and it's going to be great for the parents' wallets, but Disney's already made their money from that. Like, they don't get a cut of what sells at the bargain outlets. Bargain outlets buy their stock from a third party who's already paid Disney, and then Those bargain outlets will make their own money. And the bargain outlets don't even stock too much Star Wars stuff. It's weird. Logan Michael, 2 hours before last night's stream, I started my power went out. Well, Logan Michael, I hope it was just a weather-related thing and nobody hit a power line, but it seems that you're back. So I'm glad that you are okay. I had the power go out here once during an episode of the show. There's an episode of World Class Bullshitters that's either corrupted or not complete or something like that. It was terrible. And for some reason, I didn't have my damn laptop plugged in either. So I just lost the file. It was fucked up. But I'm glad you're back, my friend. I will check out the Fender with Woody Harrelson. I do like offbeat things, so thank you for your recommendation. If you got more recommendations, folks, let me know. I mean, you guys listen to this show every morning. You can tell the kind of stuff I'm into. If you hear me talk about stuff and you have suggestions like John Harrison, please send them my way. I'm always looking for new stuff. I finally watched Split. I may have mentioned this yesterday. It was fantastic. Don't want to spoil it, but I can't wait to watch the sequel. Defender was the best superhero movie ever. Oh, man, I'm seeing a lot of it. I didn't watch How It Should Have Ended. I apologize, folks. I went to do the yard work, and then, life happened. I got busy. American Trent 421. Free copy of Solo on Blu-ray with every appliance purchase. Only at the Home Depot. The new 6-inch Han's face is still off. The Rebel Trooper looks great. I've seen the pictures, Trent, especially with those new joints in the back. Han's face looks off, but if you watch the Fwoosh review of him compared to the other Han from the Black Series, the first wave release, or the second wave release, it's day and night different, and I love Bespin Han Solo, and the face is enough for me to pick up one. I may pick up two, and if somebody sells a custom head online, like Old Boy Customs, that guy, I'll pay the money to have a custom head put on my Bespin Han Solo, and then I'll just put it back in the box. It'll be like a nice collector's item. Abomino, I didn't like the second Kick-Ass as much as the first one. I saw it with Dan, and we thought it was okay, but it wasn't the first one where I was like, oh my god, this was great, I can't wait for more. It wasn't as funny. It was like it was a retread, but not in a good way. Like when you watch Spider-Man 2 or The Empire Strikes Back or The Dark Knight, it's definitely a continuation of where you once were in terms of the world, but they take the story off in another interesting way. I didn't find Kick-Ass 2 to be that interesting, so would I watch it again? Maybe. If it was on cable or somebody had it, or if it was on Netflix, I'd watch it again to make sure I'm not 100% wrong. But as of now, with my one viewing recollection, it just didn't pique my interest. It didn't tickle my fancy. Who's holding Ray's head today? Actually, I put Ray's head back on the body because I put all the guys from the live stream about the action figures back on the shelf because I needed some space in my office to do some work. So Ray's head is firmly attached to her little body. I think she's getting power bombed by an Imperial Guard. So there we go. What should you have for dinner tonight? Chicken or chicken? Thank you, Paul McBride. I appreciate that. There's a flow to the super chats on the High Council, but don't worry. We always get everyone. Rugis, you really want me to watch Buckaroo Banzai? I actually sent a list of Nick about a list of sci-fi movies that we should watch from the 80s, and Buckaroo Banzai was on there. So that's going to be happening soon. Do you have a favorite Darth Vader figure? I like the new Black Series one, the one that was the 40th anniversary and or the single carded release. I think that's a good figure. And then I like the old Comtech one because you can put his hands on his belt and you can do the Darth Vader pose. A Sentry movie, as in Marvel Sentry? Oh, man. No, I don't know. Well, yeah, if you build it up right, anything's possible in the Marvel Universe. I mean, look, if they're going to tear it apart with one movie, a.k.a. Captain Marvel. Is there talk of making a podcast of High Council, like where I take the live show, the High Council, and put it on a podcast service? I don't know. We'd have to ask. Well, Thursday's show will be a review of Ant-Man and the Wasp. I don't know. Let me talk. I know Kendo saw it last night. If Nick has seen it and Dion has seen it, then I'll go make sure I see it tomorrow afternoon after this show, and we'll turn it into a review just for you, Lime Green Hulk, because that's what we do. I think Vader has a cooler design. And the brand coffee I'm drinking, I usually go through Dunkin' Donuts and get 2 extra large dark roasts black. No coffee, no sugar, just straight up coffee. So real quick, folks, the episode title is The Rian Johnson Hate Mob. So let's be fair and talk about the Rian Johnson Hate Mob. So I'm working on a video talking about Rian Johnson's tweet about Gamergate. And I was already working on a long-form video because those seem to be the ones that everyone comes out to watch. And there was this long-form video about the stages of a Geekergate, which basically is a 20-step list that they follow. And it's just a step-by-step program. They always do it. They did it with video games. They did it with Marvel. Now they're doing it with Star Wars. And the one thing about Star Wars was that they couldn't anticipate the love for this franchise. Gaming definitely skews. I mean, I know they say the target audience is 18 to 35 in gaming, but Star Wars goes back. I mean, Star Wars is 41 years old. You could have people that are, 60, 65 years old that saw it in their early 20s that are really tied into it and don't like this garbage. So they tried to pull this crap in other forms of entertainment, and it works, especially in modern comics. The people just stop buying it, but they're willing to take the loss. But when Star Wars costs so much money, they're not willing to do that. They can't do that. And the fans fought back, and they resort to hatred and violence and lies. And that's why they're going to lose, because we're coming back with sincerity, honesty, truthful stances about stuff. We just want them to be held the same way that we're held in terms of accountability. So we got a whole bunch of super chats that popped up. Thank you to everyone. First off, Grim Falcon, glad you're safe. By the way, listen to episode 39 as I worked last night. Best Star Wars moment is, I am a Jedi like my father before me. Fuck Captain Marvel, Rogue was better. You damn right. Everything he said is right. Actually, I don't remember episode 39 of the show, so I'm hoping it was fun. I hope Dustin didn't say anything too weird. Actually, I don't care. That's Dustin. But I do like that moment after he throws the lightsaber down. That's cool. And I really like Rogue way more than Captain Marvel. For anyone that ever listens to me talk about Captain Marvel or the certain female superheroes, and they say, oh, you just don't like female superheroes. Wrong. The X-Men, they were all cool. Even Jubilee's lame ass. The women of the X-Men were cool. Rogue kicked ass. Storm kicked ass. Jean Grey, in the comic book, Psylocke was cool. Here's the thing. I call out lame characters from both genders. Male or female. If you suck, you suck. I don't care. I don't show any discrimination. I think that's the ultimate inequality. I can critique and praise the same way no matter where you come from. So I wish they could do that too. Logan Michael, the Power of the Force toy line is underrated. I think a lot of backlash from that toy line comes from the older collector that is blinded by the nostalgia of the vintage line. I will give respect where respect is due. The vintage line definitely revolutionized the Star Wars toy industry, as well as made Star Wars toys this collectible item that'll. I don't think the Star Wars vintage line's value will last forever once this generation of older guys who grew up with it die off, and it's their kids or somebody else who's just using it for value. If there's no nostalgia factor or emotional attachment to those figures, people aren't going to buy them, because as much as I love Han and Chewbacca, their vintage toys aren't the best representations of them ever put to plastic. Same thing with Power of the Force 2, though. I think the ships were great. I think they were a nice evolution of the old Kenner molds, and I think they took it in the right direction and brought Star Wars back to the forefront. I think that toy line is very responsible for the generation of Star Wars fans that I'm a part of, especially me. I found that toy line in a book, a magazine, thought it looked cool, started reading about the movie, saw the movie, had the toys, kind of bought into Star Wars, from the beginning because of the toys, especially with the Power of the Force 2 line. I had the entire thing. Now, if you're talking about the vintage Power of the Force line, it's fine. It's got the coins and some figures are cool, but some of them aren't that good. You should watch the Retro Blasting video about that if you want a more in-depth discussion of the first Power of the Force toy line. Cloud Spiffy, thank you very much. Would you be anywhere near surprised if R2D2 was somehow the MVP like he usually is in episode 9? Plus, could you possibly give half of this to Mauler somehow? I sincerely enjoy both of your content. I can talk to Mauler. With exchange rate and taxes, thing is, Google takes a big cut, but we'll figure something out. I'll find a way to PayPal Mauler a cup of coffee or something. No, Class 50, I'll work something out. He is great, and I'm glad that you support both World Class Bullshitters as well as Mauler. I need to get him back on. I just want to talk to him about stuff. Maybe I'll try to get him on to talk about Ant-Man and the Wasp. But our last one was legendary with Razor Fist and Retro Blast, and that was a great, great, great show. But I hope R2D2 is the real MVP of episode 9. He didn't do much in the last 2 movies. So it would be cool to see an R2 moment where all is lost. I think you could really get a lot of fan excitement and appreciation from an R2D2 moment like that. Very much like an Empire or like in an Empire when, the hyperdrive's down and boom, there you go. Or when he like opens the door and sprays the smoke and shit and C-3PO's like, wonderful, all that stuff. You should have an R2D2 moment like that. All the other characters that the original from the original films are ruined. Legacy characters deserve some respect. I was going to talk about an article in a few moments about Lando, how they're now begging Lando not to be killed. Does it fit with the SJW agenda, or have they realized that killing off Luke and Han and allowing Princess Leia to die in real life but not on film has been a mistake? Rocket Insano, welcome back. The first trilogy was an adventure serial. The second was a Greek tragedy. The third, HBO miniseries. I wouldn't even give it an HBO miniseries status. I'm thinking more along the lines of like a failed AMC show that debuted after The Walking Dead and lasted 5 episodes. Like something like that. Because HBO has Game of Thrones, and though it's not my cup of tea, it's very, very, very popular and successful. But I definitely see where you're going with the lowering of quality. Like, the quality, it drops from, a 10 to a 5 to a 2. So thank you, Rocket Insano. Rian Johnson equals AIDS. Maybe so, maybe so. Let's see, we had another one pop up. Thank you guys for this morning. I appreciate this from Zaire. Do you collect/buy lightsaber toys? Ivan did a video. I'll have to check out Ivan's toy video. As a kid, I had the first Power of the Force 2 green lightsaber, Luke's Return of the Jedi saber, and then my mom picked me up Obi-Wan's and Darth Maul's from episode 1 back in 99. Picked up Anakin's from episode 2 because it was cheap. And I think I got in that toy video, I found lightsabers for like $2.50 or $1.25 or whatever they were. I have a couple of those because they were cheap. But I don't really collect lightsabers. If I was going to collect like a high-end Star Wars thing, it'd probably be like Han Solo's blaster or a model of the Millennium Falcon. I'm a big Han Solo guy. Like, I like lightsabers. They're fine. If I could have a real one, of course I would. But the Star Wars stuff that interests me is like the space battles and the world building, not necessarily the plight of the Jedi and the internal struggles like that. Well, Trent, at least you have a good toy line to be nostalgic for. Sure, Omnio Ramen. I'll see if I can get Kendo Slice on. Alpha Terranema says, any plans to implement Streamlabs? You guys get a bigger cut from those, if I can recall. Or IIRC. I actually looked into it. I wrote it down last night. I'll find out how I implement that with this and all that. I'm always down about growing the business and doing more. Like, June was cool. We had a really successful month. Want to keep that rolling forever so we can, go to more shows and do stuff, and I can get better equipment, a studio, and all the stuff like that. So anyway, for me to get more out of something is definitely better. So Streamlabs will be something that I check out because I don't want to be lazy and screw myself over from a better stream. A lot of people talking about Pando hooking up with the droids. I don't know if Ahsoka will show up in episode 9, and if she does show up in episode 9, would enough people know her? Because we are the fans of Star Wars, so we know the characters from the TV show, we know the characters from the books and comics and all that stuff. But if you go to, like your average audience that might go see this movie on like a Friday afternoon or something before Christmas, they'll see some orange lady and maybe they won't know who that character is. But I'm cool with Ahsoka showing up anywhere. She was a really great character that I liked a lot. Jake the Trenchcoat, would you splurge on the Legacy Falcon? No, because I already own it. That's a true story. I've had that thing for 8 years now. Never get rid of it. Nicholas Glenn, you Streamlabs only take 2.9% per donation. All right, that's definitely better than 30% that Google takes. So I'll look into that. I'll start working on that. I'm still working on that damn website I keep talking about, guys. I have bought more equipment, so the back end stuff of World Class Bullshitters is taking up a lot of free time, but it'll be worth it once it becomes more self-sustaining. So while everyone is talking up, somebody made a real lightsaber. I'll have to check that out. By the way, thanks to everyone who's watching this morning. We have 500 viewers already, and the show's only been on the air for about, if I could do math, 35 minutes. So thank you for that. American Trent 421, your Legacy Falcon crowdfunding can start right now. You just put a link on our Facebook page, and the kind folks from the World Class Bullshitters community will make that happen. By the way, if anyone out there listening donated to that lady's cancer fund, that was really generous of you guys. That just goes to show you that like the little corner of Star Wars that we all inhabit is not filled with hate and anger and violence and misogyny and racism and all this other garbage that they try to throw at us. No, we're a group of people who give a shit about other people. And so when that woman had her issues, thanks to Jeremy, I mean, look, $1,000 was raised, and other people are out there doing their part too. So that's pretty awesome. Don't ever let anyone talk down to you about being in this anti-Disney Star Wars movement, because it's all about a movie. It's all about equality of a film. It's not about equality of people or ideas and stuff like that. It's just we dislike a movie and they keep talking shit about us. But when somebody needs help, I think everyone kind of comes together, and it's a cool thing. It's a cool thing. I've never seen Jodie's Corner. Good morning to you, the Grand Inquisitor. So do you guys want me to talk about this Lando garbage? Because it kind of follows up from yesterday. I apologize that we're not talking about too much about Rian Johnson's racism. I was getting to it, and then we got all those super chats. Let me get back to that for a moment. All I want to say is, in a roundabout way, because his head is very round, is that Rian Johnson is trying, maybe he's being sarcastic or facetious, or just he's trying to find something to do because he's unemployed currently. But maybe Rian Johnson doesn't realize it either, but he is on the hate-filled side of Gamergate. If we're still talking about that, if we're still living through it, he is the guy that is on the side of personal attacks and the doxing and all these terrible things. I mean, people are being forced off Twitter. All these terrible things are happening to these people just because either they dislike a movie or they're associated with people that dislike the movie. This isn't about Kelly Marie Tran. This isn't about Daisy Ridley. This is about The Last Jedi was garbage, and don't let anybody say anything different to you. If you like the movie, cool. That's not what I'm saying. But don't ever let this this community be misconstrued as a hate mob. Ahsoka might be teaching Rey. Ugh, she needs to be taught. Rob Duke. Let's see. Nobody will want to work with Rian Johnson. He's everybody's worst takes. Is that true? I know Rian Johnson is responsible for like that really lauded episode of Breaking Bad. But like I said, guys, that's a Vince Gilligan thing. You need a strong producer. Kathleen Kennedy is not a strong producer. She's somebody who is focused on an agenda, and their little computer programs that make sure that all the minority characters have X amount of representation. It's nice in theory that those people are working on that, but why don't you worry about making good characters first? You were so close with Finn, and then you ruined him. And Poe Dameron's technically a minority character too. The only white person in the main crew of Star Wars is now Daisy Ridley. You could have made him a much cooler character too. You could have sold more toys of him if you would have had the little boys would have had an alpha male type of character to look up to. Like Wolverine is nobody's bitch. Well, everybody likes Wolverine. Poe Dameron is everyone's bitch. Nobody likes Poe Dameron. They will turn Lando evil. My God, would that be cool if Lando turned on him one last time? What would they do? Like the First Order would offer him like a giant sex robot. They'd bring back Lobot, or they'd offer to extract L337 from the Falcon. And through love and love alone, Lando will betray Rey and the characters he's never met before, or one more sweet night with L337's childbirthing hips. I'm going to be watching it on Netflix, Abomino. Like I said, I don't have my entertainment system hooked up, so no TV or anything in this office. Brad Norris, thank you very much for your generous super chat. Now they've completely destroyed it. Do you think Lucas regrets selling Star Wars? I think Lucas regretted selling Star Wars in 2015 for many reasons. First off, I think he regretted it for he had control the entire time, and then he let someone else have it, and it's hard for him to watch. It'd be like if you're dating some girl, or you're married, and then you see her get remarried or something like that, and you're like, oh, well, he probably has like, oh, I messed this up. Could I have done something different to save it? Lucas is like, man, should I have sold it? Should I have continued it? Should I have done something different? I think he regretted it back then. I don't think he privately likes those. I would kill, not literally, to get an interview with George Lucas to hear his like honest to God thoughts about the modern Disney Star Wars. No hype, no PR spin, just straight up Lucas. If he likes it, I'll accept his answer. But from now, what I think is I just don't think they'd taken the things that he created and kind of fostered the whole time. Like he made sure that Luke, Han, and Leia, Chewbacca, well, Chewbacca did go in the books. Was it the New Jedi Order or something like that? But Han, Luke, and Leia survived the books, and their characters remained with the integrity that Lucas created for them. And say what you will about the prequels, and you can shit on them, you can love them. But in the original ones, those characters were all there from the beginning that Lucas wrote and directed and co-produced. So I think he regretted it back then, and I bet you he's pretty pissed off about Luke Skywalker's death and the recasting of Alden Ehrenreich as Han Solo and stuff like that. But publicly, he can't say those things. I mean, I think he should publicly say those things. It would be kind of funny if he denounced Star Wars left and right, but he won't for PR spin, for courtesy. Maybe he likes Kathleen Kennedy deep down and knows her in a different way and is just hurt by what she's done. It's kind of weird. In many ways, George Lucas has all the money he'll ever need, could buy, a fleet of Ferraris every day for the rest of his life. But he gave up the one thing that he actually had that mattered to like a billion people on the planet. So I think he's regretted it since day one. Thank you very much, Brad Norris. A lot of people calling Wolverine a tranny. He's not a tranny. Rocket Insano. The 3 A's of avoiding character controversy. Aliens, androids, and animals. Nobody complains about Rocket Raccoon or Vision. Very true. Plus, Rocket Raccoon was humanized, especially was the first one when he talks about being torn apart and put back together and all that stuff. When I went to see Guardians 1 back in 2014, they gave out these free pins at AMC theaters. And Dan and I each opened up ours. Dan got Batista, and I got Rocket Raccoon. I thought, God damn it, I hate Rocket Raccoon. He's going to be such a stupid, cutesy character. And then I watched the movie, and that kind of depth came out of that little CGI character. And I went, wow, I'm really happy to own this pin. So in a roundabout way, in a weird way, they have added so much depth that I want to own a piece of it, meaning the character is worthwhile to me. Same thing with Vision. They talk about the Vision, how he wants to know what it means to be human, how he's pure enough to hold Thor's hammer. Rey, Finn, Poe, Rose, all the new Star Wars characters are just lame by comparison. Anyone that's ever worked on a Marvel movie probably could think, I could do this better, and they would do it better. There's no reason that the characters have to be bad. That's why a lot of people like myself are just so angry, because they both have the same amount of resources behind the camera. They can anything they want. They have ILM, big budgets, access to the best actors in the world. What do? They pick a bunch of weird actors that aren't either that good to act, or they put good actors in bad roles. Like I consider Benicio del Toro a really good actor. DJ's a stupid character. Didn't like him. I think another thing too with a lot of these good actors that they put in Star Wars is they're basically selling them on their childhood nostalgia. Like, hey, we want you to be in this movie, Tom Hardy or Daniel Craig, and they get all excited for their appearances in these Star Wars movies, and they just like they do what they're told, they leave, and then they don't really think about this, that, and the other. Like, it was nice that Harrison Ford challenged George Lucas in Star Wars. That's why the first one works, because it feels natural. It feels like you're in that world. If Star Wars felt like a weird, cold, sterile place like it does in the prequels, those movies wouldn't have been made post the first one. So it's all about depth, Rocket Insano. They gave depth to Rocket Raccoon and the Vision, but there's no depth to Rey or anyone else in her cadre of characters or friends or whatever the hell you want to call them. Those characters in Star Wars. I'm using quotations very much. Alpha Terranema, thank you very much. Lando becomes a space splasher, and solos the entire Star Wars universe aside from R2, Chewie, and Cecil. Basically Infinity War with no part 2. I'm down. I'll definitely watch that. 100%. I'll definitely watch that. Hell, if they need to crowdfund it, I'll give a couple bucks for the CGI budget on that one. I want Lando to be as smooth as he was in 1984. Post Star Wars, but pre Colt 45, that golden Billy D. Age era. I need to see Ant-Man and the Wasp, Lime Green Hulk. I really should just go see it tomorrow. I guess it would be beneficial for the show. I can get a video out and then go see it. I mean, my yard work can wait some more. Who cares about weeds? They'll grow back, right? Ugh. Hey, Devon Graham. Hey, isn't that Devon Graham? No one's going to get your screen name reference. You're the hero of this show right now. Good morning to you, too. God damn. I hope I know you personally. Or at least I want to know you personally now. That's an awesome screen name. Folks, if you know what that means, tell me in the chat, and I'll give you a very special shout-out. So, hey, isn't that Devon Graham? Oh, man. Why do they have DJ with a disability? I guess they were trying to make him interesting. It didn't work. He was almost like a surrogate Lando. You're a surrogate. He's a surrogate Lando. That's it. And a bad one at that. Oh, good morning, Walter. Fuck it, let's go bowling. That's another fantastic screen name. But hey, isn't that Devon Graham has got the win right now? Come on, guys. I'm waiting for someone to know it. Please don't Google it. Like, just if you know it, awesome. If you don't, that's fine. It's I'm not gonna let it derail the entire show, but God, that is a great name. It's shit like that that makes me wish I would have named my YouTube channel not like the Jeff 007, but hey, whatever. I don't think Star Wars would have been as big if Splinter of the somebody's got it. If Splinter of the Mind's Eye was the next Star Wars film. Thank God The Empire Strikes Back was what it was. Well, here's the thing. Star Wars would have been the first one was the biggest movie of all time. So you would have had all the merchandise, all the stuff, the Christmas special or the holiday special, all that stuff would have happened post. So then we would have got to what the next film would have been, and it would have been Splinter of the Mind's Eye, and I don't think it would have been what it was, but it still would have made Lucas a very, very wealthy man, and there would have been a lot. Like, I think it would have been akin to like a what's a series of films where only the first one is. It's like Jaws. You know, the first Jaws is regarded as this classic. It made a bunch of money. Everyone loves it and respects it. And then no one talks about the other three. It would have been kind of like Jaws. Zorant Zero. If Rian Johnson has a hate mob, still it's because he keeps feeding them. Also, good morning, everyone. I hope things turn around for Star Wars. Zorant Zero, good morning to you too. Zero. Excuse me. Good morning to you too. I think the Rian Johnson hate mob, at least for my title, is the hate mob he's creating. Not that we hate Rian Johnson, but the fact that he has allowed these people on the inside. I won't even make it a political thing, at least in my ability. To the best of my ability, I'll make it not as political, but on the inside, the people under the Star Wars wing, under Mother Kathleen Kennedy, saggy, those people are the hateful ones, because there are a lot of people out there that are just like, hey, I dislike this movie for X, Y, and Z reasons, and then they get attacked. Like, I don't want to get back into it, but our good friend Retroblasting got attacked over some dumb shit like that. So there's a hate mob on the other side of the table, if you will. That's what I'm talking about in terms of the hate mob. Not really us. I don't hate Rian Johnson. I hate his fucking movie. Would I sit down and have a discussion with him about it? Sure, I would. I'd love to film an interview where he explains himself and get 28 quadrillion views on a YouTube video and pay off college and retire. No, I would sit down and talk to him. I wouldn't call him a round-headed fuck unless he started out saying some stupid shit to me. I mean, it goes both ways. We're both people. And if you treat people a certain way, you can get a lot more out of them than, starting out the conversation by being a dick. Grim Falcon, thank you very much. I pity the fool who feeds the mob. I pity him. Oh, Mr. T. Now I kind of want to watch Rocky 3, but I don't have a copy of that film, so I won't. Yeah, Rian Johnson is the hate mob. Thank you, John. Yes, Highlander is the only good film in that series, the first Highlander. I didn't see that until a couple years back with Joel, but it was really awesome. I saw Highlander 2 as a kid, and I hated it. So I guess I just proved my point. And I agree. A Split Under the Mind's Eye would have happened. The fan base wouldn't be as big. I agree with that 100%. Star Wars would just be a movie, not an event, if that makes sense. That whole trilogy coming out the way it did and hitting the way it did really did change movies. And I think that's why we're able to sit and talk about it 41 years later with the same passion and excitement that people talked about it back then. There's nothing like Star Wars then. There's nothing like Star Wars now, because what Star Wars is now is nothing like it used to be. Yes. Jaws was where the term blockbuster came from. Thank you, Walter. You're 100% right with that. And then Star Wars took that title 2 years later. I mean, it's funny how George Lucas and Steven Spielberg have always had like a weird, not like a competition where they hate each other, but it's like Jaws comes out and it's a huge hit and Spielberg's riding high. And then Star Wars comes out and Lucas is riding even higher. And then you go, E.T. comes out and beats Star Wars. But Lucas also had the Star Wars trilogy, and then together they had Indiana Jones, and then Star Wars got re-released and has beaten E.T. at the box office and stuff like that. That's a good friendship in entertainment. Together they produced some good stuff. Yeah, they made Indiana Jones 4 and it's garbage, but on a percentage base, I got to give a nod to Lucas and Spielberg. They're both guys that got it. When you had real filmmakers making movies, not some tin-eared, graph-papered brain accountant who's making a movie. Those kind of things are they show in today's entertainment. Kevin Feige is the reason why the MCU's been what it has been, because he's a fan, he gets it, he knows how to make a movie, he knows how to get people that know how to make a movie. Kathleen Kennedy is unqualified for her job. I don't think there will be an episode 10, guys. I think there will be 3 Star Wars trilogies. The great one, the less great one, and the bad one. And then there will be some spin-offs, and then Star Wars is going to take a little break, and then they're just going to call them different they're not going to call them episodes, whatever. They're just going to be singular Star Wars films. Before the dark times, before the Disney Empire. Infinity War hits Blu-ray in August, Jaron, so there you go, my friend. The last game I played, oh god, I don't know, it's been a long time. I played Tetris on the Switch. That was about it. Rian Johnson needs to be humbled by the Iron Sheik. Yeah, break his back, make him humble. I'm with you 100%. I don't know if they'll be making a new trilogy within a decade or so. It depends on how this goes. Stranger things have happened, folks. It's a show. We've all seen it. Excuse the terrible joke, but stranger things have happened. Look at Disney right now with the way Star Wars is. If you would have asked us 6 years ago, do you think we'd be here where we are now? No one would have said no. Yes, we wouldn't have had. I wouldn't have been like, I mean, maybe I disliked the movie, but I didn't think I'd be doing, this as a job, and people talking about Star Wars as a dying brand was a real viable topic. So I never know where something's going to go that far out. So in 10 years, 2028, Star Wars may no longer be a thing. I mean, guys, remember, after Return of the Jedi, Star Wars did slowly fade away, actually kind of fast. By 85, no one's really talking about it. And not until 95, when they did the re-release in the new toy line, did it get some more traction. Yes, I know the Zahn books came out before that. Believe me, I'm well aware of the Zahn books release date. But it was the re-release of the movies and the hype before the special edition. Once the special edition came out, we had that. But there was that gap, basically a decade gap of Star Wars. And it's what we needed. I think if there's a decade gap, they're not going to try to play up on the nostalgia of the new stuff and continue a trilogy like that. Maybe they'll just do some like one-off movie to see how they'll fix it. Oh, Smash Adams. I love Doug. I just wish you weren't a douche. The greed of Lucas to Disney. Yeah, Disney wants to take over the world. Lucas just, I don't really know. I'm not like a George Lucas love, or he made some good stuff, and now he doesn't. I don't know. I've already seen Red Tails. That wasn't very good. A Star Wars film 100 years in the future, or in 1,000 years in the past. Oh, that'd be kind of cool. The thing, though, about Star Wars technology is, even the stuff like Knights of the Old Republic, they have like the ships and stuff like that. So I guess 1,000 years before or after the Star Wars trilogy proper, you're still going to get lightsabers and hyperspace and all that kind of stuff. And we've already seen the era where the Jedi Order was, at the height of its power and ego and its fall. Maybe we'll see the formation of the Jedi. I don't know. Yeah, Howard the Duck is horrible. I tried watching it. Somebody mentioned about if George Lucas still in Star Wars, he'd be making special edition changes. I want another special edition because there are some really good changes and there are tons of bad ones. But if he finally would have gotten his head out of his ass about the Jabba the Hutt scene in A New Hope and the entry to Mos Eisley and fixed it up a little more, took out the humor and some of the annoying sound effects and fixed the CGI, you might have a fine version of Star Wars. Maybe not as impactful as the original, but not enough to change it. Like I read a really great analogy online. Star Wars is like a brand new Ferrari. It's the most beautiful car you've ever seen. And every time George Lucas makes a special edition change, he keys the side of the car. And while the car is still beautiful, you always notice the scratches on the side. So I thought that was a great analogy. And that's what I see with the special editions, guys. There will always be that great movie there, but there's still scratches. And like Empire, there's like one thing, like a small scuff on the bumper of Empire that makes it not as good as the original. The Jedi probably has the most egregious of changes. If you like the Jabba scene in the Empire or A New Hope, cool. Like I said, I don't really try to shit on people with differing opinions. The only thing I will argue is that it's a very redundant scene. Do we actually need it? Because everything we needed to know was just said by Greedo seconds earlier. So why would we need the Jabba scene again? I don't really get it. It just kind of tells the same story twice. And no, I have not seen the Lego Batman film. The only Lego movie I've seen is the Lego movie proper. But I'll check out Lego Batman down the road. Maybe if it's on that DC streaming service, when I give it a month's trial, I'll watch it. People talk about Macross and all that stuff. Cool. I like me some Japanese cartoons. Yeah, it was cool once in terms of the Jabba scene, but it doesn't really work. It was neat to see that CGI back in the day, but I think the Battle of Yavin stuff is necessary to fix that movie a bit. Um, there are some shots, like I said, that just don't work, guys. King Eric said, "Like that analogy last part where you punch Lucas in the face and tell him to stop King the car. Lucas would need a good dental appointment." Ooh, why don't the prequels get recuts? That'd be interesting. They could do it. What would you guys recut out of the prequels? Obviously, the Jar Jar stuff, but that if you could find a way to go back to all the master files and everything, and cut out Jar Jar without any, you could really get rid of Jar Jar pretty well. Huh. I'm just sitting here thinking about that. That might make the movie tolerable. You got to cut down a lot of Anakin garbage dialogue. Are you an angel? And all that shit. Yeah, Spaceballs was better than The Last Jedi. Spaceballs is one of the better Star Wars movies out there. Love Dark Helmet. He is so fun. Yes, it also lessens Jabba's impact in Return of the Jedi. I remember seeing the original trilogy as a kid on tape, and they kept talking about Jabba the Hutt, and then you finally see Jabba the Hutt. I'm like, whoa, that's cool. So, I can't imagine waiting the 6 years. You just hear that line, who's Jabba the Hutt? I'm sure people had, if you read the Marvel comic, you saw an early interpretation of Jabba the Hutt. And it was a weird, walrusy, woolly creature type of thing. And now it's something else. Simply change Jar Jar's voice. That'd be kind of cool. I don't know why there's new hate for Spaceballs. I love it. I got it on every format. It's one of my favorite movies. I like Mel Brooks movies, but I think Spaceballs is my favorite one for sure. Blazing Saddles is good. Young Frankenstein is good. Robin Hood Men in Tights. That was the first one I saw as a kid. I used to watch the shit out of that movie. I thought the scene where they're behind the curtain with Maid Marian was hilarious. But I haven't seen it in a long time. Man, a lot of chat rolling in this morning. Yeah, Dark Horse did some good interpretations of Star Wars. Baseballs isn't woke. Doesn't need to be woke. If you go woke, you go broke. And we have that. A lot of Spaceballs quotes. While we're getting our Spaceballs quotes on, let me pull up this Lando thing that I wanted to talk about to keep the show rolling. I think today's show is a pretty strong one. Chastity belt, that's going to chafe my willy. Editing for TV ruined Mel Brooks movies. Yeah, that's why I watched them on HBO as a kid at my aunt's house. Whatever they show. I know Robin Hood Men in Tights was on HBO. My one aunt, Pat, who's still with us, thankfully my favorite aunt, she always would have every movie channel, still does to this day. And you go out to her house, and she was cool, let me watch anything I want. I would watch a lot of action movies or Skinamax flicks, depending on who was asleep. Fox shareholders filed a lawsuit against Disney. I did not hear about that. Oh, shit. Let me look that up real quick, because that's interesting. The development of that definitely plays into this show all the time. Let's see. Oh my God, there's a brush run near Griffith Park. As I look this up. Oh, the Grand Inquisitor, thank you very much for your generous super chat. What is your favorite Crown Royal? I like Crown Black and the new Bourbon Mash. I miss Cask 16. It was their best. If you've never had XR, you need to treat yourself, homie, but it's pricey. It's pricey, but worth it. The only Crown Royal I've indulged in was the original basic purple bag Crown Royal. Maybe I've had Crown Royal Black with Loudy, but Crown Royal is one of the few alcohol liquors that I can just drink straight up. Doesn't really, I don't like drinking straight other stuff. I can do gin as well, but whatever. I shouldn't drink much anymore. I'm getting older. I got other stuff to do. But a Crown Royal drink here and there would be nice. I have a set of the glasses, get some nice ice cubes made with clean filtered water and have a drink here and there. Maybe that's what I'll do to get through this Friday night's The Last Jedi live stream. That could be quite an interesting thing to do. And I'll have the first drink for you, Grand Inquisitor. So I found the article On the Hollywood Reporter, Fox shareholders sue to stop Disney acquisition. The absence of the financial projections for Hulu and SEC filings are among the omissions alleged to violate securities rules. Ooh, guys, we love a controversy. Let's talk about this for a minute. Let's see. The sale of 21st Century Fox and Studios assets to Disney has triggered the first lawsuit from shareholders who complains about what was filed with the Securities and Exchange Commission. The punitive case action seeks to enjoin the transaction. Robert Weiss, leading other shareholders, filed a lawsuit on Friday in Delaware. Hey, I'm in Delaware. It's federal court. The lawsuit alleges that the proxy statement filed on June 20th omits or misrepresents the company's financial projections and the data underlying financial valuation analysis from Goldman Sachs and Centerview Partners. The complaint further contends that Goldman potentially conflicts of interest have not been adequately disclosed. Ooh, this is kind of long, so I'm going to leave it at that. You guys can check it out. It's on the Hollywood Reporter. Just Google Fox lawsuit, and you'll find it right away. My God, could you imagine if Disney's gearing up for all this shit, and then they get hit with a huge fine, or they get their purchase just shut down, and then Comcast swoops in? Man, that could be like the second blow to them this year. I really hope it happens. The Star Wars failure of Solo was the first blow. Then this happens. Then maybe like something comes through and destroys the Star Wars land, but no people are hurt. Just like lightning strikes both Star Wars lands simultaneously in a weird act of Zod. And Disney is just like, wow, something's telling us not to do the Star Wars stuff. They take a little break. They release some Blu-rays of the originals, and we all come here and have a big watch party. And then we go to the Winchester, have a pint, and wait for the whole thing to blow over. Let's see here. Comcast did bid, guys, but I think they're trying to bid again. So, mosquito got in here somehow. That sucks. Oh, Justice is right. I know there's a lot of good-hearted people that love Disney and some nice people that work at Disney too, but overall, one company owning too much is never a good thing. That's what this whole, my whole platform is with Disney buying Fox. It's not about just pure Disney hate, but it's too much power. Was it absolute power corrupts absolutely? We got to worry about that. I hope Wayne's World, does it get made in 2018, like remade in 20? Oh, you're asking if it could be made with today's sensibilities. I like questions like this. You could make a stoner style comedy. I didn't realize that Wayne and Garth were high, even if they are. I just thought they were like two party dudes that were whatever. But I don't know if Wayne's World would get made today. Garth would have to be gay or black. Wayne could be Wayne. Cassandra would be Cassandra. Like, you talk about interracial relationships, no one ever goes on about how Wayne's World's progressive because it's just a good movie where Wayne has a hot Asian girlfriend. Let's not make a thing out of it. I'm gonna go with no. Wayne's World would not get made today, and thankfully it doesn't either, because Wayne's World is like a perfect time capsule of early '90s rock culture and musical references and stuff like that. It's a lot of fun. And then when Wayne's World 2 gets made and you get Mike Myers in there who tries to make it something else, there's a reason they only did 2 Wayne's World flicks. So let's hope that they don't do anything like that. Garth would be a trend today. They aren't high if you watch it high. Now, I think they could make... I never thought Wayne and Garth were stoner. So I've heard that lately. But yeah. Yes, I did get the Yeti set up. If I'm having any connection issues, it's because my internet sucks in this neighborhood. Hopefully I can get the hell out of here in a calendar year and move somewhere decent and have better internet. Garth Schwing would be considered a sexual assault. Man. I wouldn't want, I just don't want yearly releases from Disney every month. With Fox, they don't Aliens, Predator. We don't need yearly Alien Predator films. You're right. We don't need any more Alien and or Predator films. Those movies work best as 80s, 70s, and 80s time capsule pieces in terms of Alien, because it came out in 1979. But we don't need more. Less is more. It makes us appreciate how great things were, and we should be inspired by those great films to create something new and unique that could stand up to Alien, because Aliens is great. Alien and Aliens, thumbs up. I don't know why I'm giving thumbs up. You can't see me. Then 3, and then the rest are just shitty. Rocket Insano, summer of 2018, Wayne's World versus Bill and Ted. Man, I would love that. I'd like to throw... Can we make it like a triple threat tag team match where we throw in Jay and Silent Bob? And if we're going to do a fatal four-way, add in Cheech and Chong. Now, the last two groups are definitely stoners. And Bill and Ted are probably stoned, too. Are Bill and Ted stoned? I never picked up on that shit. Just like, yeah, somebody just said Wayne's too energetic to be a stoner. I guess he is. Wayne's just a kind of a lazy dude who has a goal and a dream. And somebody said earlier about Wayne's World would just be a YouTube channel with a lot of subs. That would be an awesome way to make a Wayne's World 3, guys. Just, what Wayne and Wayne Garth do? Well, they lost their public access show. Garth went on to be successful. Wayne's a fat, balding guy. Cassandra and him had been married, but they're divorced. And Wayne and Garth are going to get the show back, and they're going to go on YouTube and make it big. And they replaced Rhett and Link for Good Mythical Morning. I did hear about the whole Stanley go to bed and die thing. I've been looking at some of the Quarterings videos as of late, because he was on the High Council a couple weeks ago, and I subscribed to his channel, so I see his stuff pop up in my feed, and I'm not... Some of his topics I don't... Wait, no, he's not the Magic the Gathering guy. Never mind. Yeah, I watched the Quarterings video, and it was kind of sad. Part of me wants Stan Lee to go, just so he can be out of it and had a nice long life. But then again, you don't want to see Stan Lee die. I mean, he is the grandfather of Marvel Comics. I was a little sad of Steve Ditko's passing. I wanted to ask Ethan his stance on that, since Ethan's worked in the comic book field. Steve Ditko was an icon, and Stan Lee's like the icon of icons. So it's going to be... Everyone's going to feel it when Stan Lee dies. Like when I was at the Weezer concert when Steve Ditko died, I was worried that it was... First it said about Spider-Man creator, and I was like, oh God, Stan Lee died? Because I would have told people, like, Stan Lee died, and the people in the concert would have actually given a shit. I don't know when Stranger Things 3 comes out. The first one was good. The second one was fine. I like it enough to watch season 3. I don't take offense to anything in Stranger Things. It's not as lame as other Netflix shows. But Glow is actually a good Netflix show. Are saying that the High Council is the future of Wayne and Garth. Denied. No, I'm joking. I wish we could have those actual guys. That'd be amazing. It's a lot like Star Trek: The Next Generation. In many ways, it's superior, but it'll never be as recognized as the original. Disney owns a multi-channel network on YouTube. I think the name is Polaris, but if your YouTube channel is signed up with you're a part of Disney. I think if that's true, I think I've been contacted by them before. I don't do any MCN stuff. I keep myself under the radar. We're like the Cloud City of YouTube channels. We're making the Tabana gas, getting those views, but we're not going to sign up with the Empire. Yeah, Craig, you definitely will know who Stan Lee is, but not Steve Ditko. I get that. I'm not saying that people who don't know Steve Ditko are uncultured swine. I'm just saying with the technology that we have, the internet, that I want people to go out there and at least check out who Steve Ditko was. I'm not saying he was a saint because he's dead. I actually think he was kind of a weird guy who could have had a lot more money than he did. But Steve Ditko, because I don't know, he just had political views that he stood by, and he died alone, according to the rumors. So that's just not how I want to live. But in terms of work, he did good work. Let's see. How did my mom's birthday celebration go? She's like a special woman. Thank you for making Jeff the way he is. Well, Rugis, thank you very much for asking. Her birthday celebration went well. I took her to dinner with my grandma. The service kind of sucked, but the food was okay. And then I took my mom to breakfast a couple times over that weekend. It was a nice couple of days off from the channel. I had way more fun than I had planned on having over those couple of days. So I'm glad to be back. Like I said yesterday, guys, I'm back full-time with the channel. I just needed that little break, and now we're here with Good Morning Pop Culture. But thank you, Rugis. I greatly appreciate that. David Cook, thank you for your very generous super chat. Good morning. Awesome High Council. You and Jeremy got me all hyped during the debate. XXXXXXL. Smiley face. I'm glad you enjoyed that, David. I always have a good time on the High Council. Like I was telling you guys earlier, Ivan Ortega and I talked off air for probably about 35 to 40 minutes. He is a really great, genuine guy. He was very polite and said some really nice stuff about all of us. Especially, he was like, I'm not going to say, 'cause it's not even personal stuff. I'm just going to tell you, I'll tell you, he was nice. He was a great guy. I can't wait to have him on the channel to discuss, his theory on film and stuff like that, to get to know him more, to help you guys get to know him more on our channel. And I hope everyone that's subscribed here right now will subscribe to the Ivan Ortega channel, because I'm not saying it because he asked us or anything like that. He always wants to make it under his own steam. He's like Spider-Man. When Norman Osborn offers him a job in the first one, he's like, I can find, I like to earn what I keep or whatever. And he's like, I get it. And you want to make it under your own steam. That's how Ivan Ortega operates. I'm just saying, from a standpoint of interacting with him and seeing his work, it's worth your time to be a subscriber to that channel. Really, really nice, genuine guy. And he's going to be coming up to Chicago for the fan celebration meetup thing. And it's going to be fun. I can't wait to meet him and Jesse and everybody like that. I'm really liking where the High Council's going. We're creating our own little thing. We're not Collider because we're not kissing ass. We're just a group of individuals who have a grievance with an entertainment brand known as Star Wars. But I'm glad you got hyped up for the debate, Jeremy. Or not Jeremy, David. The debate with Jeremy, David. I like having debates like that. Dion and I, we had one over on the last week's episode of World Class Bullshitters 2 weeks ago, and it was a little long, drawn out, but it was still fun. I like to debate. I like to argue. I took argument classes in college, so it's always a fun time for me to have those kind of discussions. And Jeremy is cool enough to know, like, when we're talking shit back and forth, not to take it seriously. Some people get butthurt, not Jeremy. So he gets a thumbs up from me in that regard. But David, I hope you come back this week for the Star Wars Last Jedi live stream, as well as next week's High Council. Maybe I'll try to get Jeremy to debate some more stuff. Today, thank you very much. Your streams are podcast worthy. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate that. I enjoy doing the streams a lot. Like I say, it's just a fun way to interact and have as many conversations as possible. It's a lot easier than trying to talk to a group of people, because like when you hear everyone say your name or people are trying to pull you this way or that way, and I'm not even saying for this show, I've been in situations where people are trying to talk to me a bunch at once, and it's hard. This is a nice, easy way to focus on you guys directly without having a panel of people. American Trent 421, Ivan's great. I prefer Doomcock over Jeremy on High Council. Doomcock is busy. Like, he has a normal job. He's taking over the world. Doomcock's great though. He's going to be on here with me. He wants to be on World Class Bullshitters. Is like just a sit down discussion, like dinner with Doomcock or something, and we'll just talk about whatever. And he can be in character, not in character, just hang out. The guy's really smart, really fun to listen to. So I'll have him on as much as possible. I actually invited him on for Friday, but he's got a work engagement. So don't worry. If we can help Doomcock grow, YouTube can be his full-time thing, and he can appear all the time. Chano, Cyber 9 Avila, the Careless Whisper better not die. Cha-Cha Slide, Chano, Cyber 9 Avila. If you checked out my upload to our Podbean server from yesterday's show, Careless Whisper may have made an appearance just for you. So, guys, if you ever have a good joke that you bring to the Good Morning Pop Culture show, I will carry it on out on Podbean, iTunes, and all those other places. So make sure you guys never miss the live version of this show, because you guys can help alter what everyone else hears down the road. So thank you, Chano Cyber 9 Avila, for yesterday's joke. I put it in there, and I thought about it in the afternoon. That song came on, and I just started to laugh. I thought of all the damn Star Wars memes and Lando getting horny looking at the Falcon. Oatmeal Ramen, you're going to see that movie soon. Don't worry. Oh, we'll definitely remain true to ourselves. I mean, there's no outside interests that like control world class bullshitters. I work for you guys essentially. I'm here. We talk every morning. This is it for me. I just want to keep growing and growing. Like we have 650 viewers right now. I want to get to a point where Good Morning Pop Culture has 60,000 live viewers, and we're discussing stuff left and right and having a lot of fun. And like people have said to me last year when we had our fan interaction, I hope you don't grow too big so you don't, you're not as you're not impersonal with the fans. I think if anything, we're more personal with the fans. I see a lot of these names pop up, and we have a great dialogue. So don't worry, we'll always be true. Sven Sandstrom, big X-Men fan. Any thoughts on the Disney takeover of Fox and its impact on the X-Men franchise? Well, I'm a big X-Men fan too. I think that Disney purchasing Fox is bad because as an X-Men fan, I thought they were finally on the right path to making a really good X-Men universe, if we'll just use that phrase, universe, even though I hate to use franchise too much in universe because it's kind of like the buzzwords, the PR words, but I'll just use it for this discussion. But I don't like it because I like Logan. I love Days of Future Past. Apocalypse was whatever. I was really excited where we were going to go with New Mutants, and I was really interested to see where we're going with Dark Phoenix. If the Disney buyout, merger, takeover doesn't happen, I think we'll get the original cuts of those movies. If the Disney thing does happen, we may never get those movies. I think it's going to suck to not get those because that New Mutants flick could have made New Mutants a much bigger IP, something more viable. Because I know a lot of comic book fans know the characters, but there's a lot of people that don't know the characters. So a movie like that could really turn people on. Look at how many people now like Deadpool post the movie. And Deadpool's already pretty popular outside of just, the movie itself. They kind of shot themselves in the foot with that. If anything, I think that they should have pushed out the movies if they're of the right quality, and they should have made it happen, not hold off because of a possible merger. So, like I said, I don't think Disney taking over anything is good for anybody at all. It's just a terrible, terrible thing. And if you're an X-Men fan, it sucks even worse. The only thing I can suggest to you, Sven, is go back and watch the 90s show, read some 80s X-Men comics from John Byrne and Chris Claremont, and inked by Terry Austin, because we can't forget the third guy of that trifecta. And go indulge in some really good classic X-Men tales, things that we kind of need, some fun superhero outings, not garbage, not Wolverine with heated adamantium claws and all the other happy horse shit. Thank you, Spirit Fire Soldier. I appreciate that. Any news from Pat from Please Rewind recording the show? Let me just email him and make something work. He's open to the idea. I want to get him on. I'll email him. I have a way to contact him. Let me write that down right now. You know what? If he's available, we'll get him on the High Council this coming Tuesday. No, New Mutants is not off, but it keeps getting pushed back. I think it was supposed to be been out already. So I don't think it's ever going to get released. Midnight Cherry TV, the morning shows have brightened my 12-hour workdays. 12-hour workdays. Oh, dude, you have all my sympathy right now. I couldn't do it. I remember working for a pop company, and I would work 10-hour days, and it was a nightmare. I can't imagine what you do for 12 hours straight. My mom has a job like that, and I feel sorry for her. 12 hours. I hope you make me motivated to want to put out more content just to keep you company at work. Because I'll feel bad. Like when I go off the air, I'm like, unless he can watch Mystery Men at work, I wonder what he's doing right now. God, I will go on Nerdrotic's channel. If anybody look at small channels have invited me on with 50 subscribers, and I've showed up. I invite people here, they show up. No one's really invited me. But if anyone does invite me, I'm open to it. So if you have a channel that you'd like me to appear on, you tell them, you tell me, we'll work out a date, and we'll make it happen. I go wherever I'm welcomed, and everyone is welcomed here. Claustoric. All right, Claustoric. This is going to be good. Good morning. What movie drink have you tried and liked? Mine was a White Russian with 1 part Kahlua from The Big Lebowski. I hate to say that, but mine too. As much as I love 007, I tried a vodka martini, shaken, not stirred, and I hated it. I only drank them because James Bond drinks them. And I made myself do it. Also, I will say this though. The only reason I drink black coffee is because James Bond drinks it in From Russia with Love, but now I actually like black coffee. So I guess it's a health benefit that I enjoy coffee that doesn't have cream and sugar in it. It doesn't really matter. Too much caffeine is not that good for you in the long run. But my point is, two drinks that I tried were inspired from James Bond. One good, one not. But I do love White Russians. What other drinks from movies? I mean, I'm a fan of the blue milk, but it's kind of hard to get around these parts. I know this isn't a drink, but there's those those plain Dorito chips from Step Brothers. I tried those because I saw them in Step Brothers. They're all right. See, Klaus Dork, you always have good questions. I appreciate those. When I see that name, I know I'm going to be thinking about stuff for a couple minutes. I wish I could give you more answers outside of the Big Lebowski, but I love that movie, and I do love the hell out of some White Russians. Back in 2015, right before we started this channel, Dan and I went to a Big Lebowski screening at a pizza bar, and we went and watched the movie, ate calzones, and I was drinking White Russians for a while. It was a really good night. Governor Tarkin. Why was everyone so mean to EVS last night? I don't know, but it was funny as shit. Oh man. EVS is the shit talking sent to Ethan was hilarious. You know what the funny thing is though? Ethan's actually in much better shape than he used to be. Like, take it from a guy who's lost weight. It's a journey. So you got to give him credit, and I'll give him credit. It can suck. There's a lot of sacrifice you got to make, and he's doing pretty good. I just love his anger, or his what's the right word to use for his upset, Nate? Well, he gets very upset over it. It makes me chuckle. Ethan goes through a lot for the fans. So is he here? I'm seeing some Hi Uncle Ethan stuff. I didn't think he was in here this morning. Oh, okay. Well, Midnight Cherry TV. I won't say that out super long or loud, but you will probably meet Nick or have met Nick because you're in the same city, and Nick talked to. Nick's your guy. He's got some good connections. He's a lot of fun to talk to, and he's my good friend. No, Devon Graham, he didn't ask me that. I'm not saying I wouldn't go, but he did not ask me. Let's see. Chano Cyber Avila. Star Wars is frightening, and the dark Kathleen. Star Wars is frightening, and the dark Kathleen Kennedy is running wild. Someone let Ryan out of his pen. I'm afraid those tweets won't harm me. No tweets can harm anyone. I saw a Family Guy clip where Brian's like, you're all the angry, hateful mob. Like, when did Family Guy become the fucking voice of reason? I guess recently. The Simpsons tried to do it a couple years ago, but the Simpsons, they lost their shit. So now Family Guy's trying out this SJW stuff. It's interesting to see how somebody like Seth MacFarlane can put out some stuff and get away with it that's so poignant. My suggestion to you guys is, if you want to create YouTube and stuff like that, just ignore the hatred on social media. It's going to be there, but then also there's this where you guys come and listen to me talk in the morning, and it's a bunch of fun. So don't ever let people think that getting into this field or getting into something online is filled with hate and anger. There's a lot of love involved, and you guys are proof of that. Oh, man, you need a James Bond movie retrospective for each movie from Jeff. We're behind 1 month on the commentaries on Patreon. I'll tell you this, Scott, the closer we get to the next Bond film, Bond 25, I will definitely do some more James Bond content. There's a couple Bond channels out there. I would like to get in contact with the guys from the Oliver Harper channel and do some James Bond discussions with them. Because the one guy, Duncan, was in Skyfall. He was an extra. And someone else played a cadaver in something else, Straw Dogs. So we could have a really good discussion. Don't worry. We could talk about Bond all day, every day. I constantly buy James Bond books. And not just the movie, or the books that Ian Fleming wrote, but books about the production. Cecil was there last night. Logan Michael, where do you guys stream the High Council? Well, Logan, it's a revolving appearance. So last night it was on Ethan's channel. Next week it's on my channel on the 17th here at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Also on Friday night, the Last Jedi live stream is going to be on my channel. I didn't know how we were going to do the Last Jedi live stream, but Jeremy suggested I host it, so that was awesome. So I get to do a double dip, if you will, in the month of July. So lucky me. But no, I'm going to host that this week, and it's going to be it's going to be something. It's going to be right. It's going to be something. Let's see, Scott Wilson. Do you mind if I post a link to my brother's Kickstarter comic over on the Facebook? That's fine, man. Look, I get it. Got people trying to make it in the art field. I've been there. Believe me, if somebody would have helped me out, I would have appreciated it. But I'm kind of glad they didn't, because now we're here with the show. Had my comic book career taken off and I was busy drawing, my life wouldn't be what it is now, and I don't want to change it. It's getting pretty awesome. I'm not going to get into personal stuff, but with the show and better health and all that crap, life's been cool. Not cruel, cool. I was going to say great, but life's been awesome, and I don't want to change that. But yeah, feel free to post your link to your brother's Kickstarter comic over on the Facebook thing and say, hey, my brother's trying to do X, Y, and Z or whatever. I'm fine with that, guys. Like, trying to, sell your art or get your art to the next level, I support that fully. Let's see, we had a couple super chats pop up. Don't want to miss a single one because I got a pretty good thing. Let's see, McFarlane stuff is brilliant. Yeah, I like McFarlane. Claustoric. If James Bond jumped off a cliff, would you follow? Of course. Well, he would have some cool Q gadget. If I had the same cool Q gadget like he does in GoldenEye, yeah, I'll bungee jump off a cliff with 007 and use that laser gun to cut into the facility, slide down the shaft, punch the guy in the toilet, and then get caught by 006 only to betray him to survive the fight, and then jump off a runway and land in an airplane. If that's a yes, then that's a yes. Wow, that was longer than I planned on it to be. Timothy Swan, thank you very much. Collider are more shells than shills these days. They are empty, where they used to be full of something important. Jeff, can good television writing save Star Wars? Are you asking in terms of the Game of Thrones writers taking over Star Wars? Guys, good writing can save Star Wars only if the people in charge do not weigh it down with socio-political garbage. You can put political commentary in other modern setting or set films because it works. Star Wars. How does each one start? A long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. You don't need to worry about those things. You don't need to weigh yourself down with those things. Good writing will be able to save it if they're able to go the full thing. If Kathleen Kennedy and her jabroni cronies don't come in and say, well, you need to have this and that and the other thing. With more creative freedom, good writing can truly save Star Wars. Also, Collider being shells more than shills. I'm not trying. I don't know if any of the videos I've ever put out have caused people to wake up to Collider. I don't watch them. I just ignore them nowadays. Before, you'd see them pop up on Screen Junkies and stuff like that, and their little community out there was fine. But I looked at them more as people who tried to be actors, who got these jobs, who essentially are just advertising for big studios. Maybe there's shells of that now, and is it sad? Is it time to old yeller them? I don't know. That's more of a metaphor for just, putting the channel to bed, not, them personally. The guy that made the Death and Return of Superman documentary, it was always all right in my book, and, I guess he's on there, but the guys from the Schmoes channel just don't do it for me. But Timothy, thank you very much for your generous super chat. Yeah, the writing is what's got to improve. Scott Stones says, talking about Bond, got his curiosity piqued, never watched any Connery Bonds. Watched them all, and now I'm reading Casino Royale. I'm glad you watched every Connery Bond. Scott Stone, let me know what your favorite one was. My favorite was from Russia with Love, but I don't love every Connery Bond. The first four are great. You Only Live Twice sucks, and Diamonds Are Forever is bad. Those are my opinions on that. The ghost with the most, my friend Beetlejuice. You make my job working with logos / pre-press much more bearable. I have Adobe certification to do this shit, and I still get paid minimum wage. Jesus. Oh, sorry, Rocket Insano. I did not miss your chat. I'm going to read that in just a second, buddy. The money was another reason why the art industry wasn't speaking to me. Like, I went to college and I got the fucking 6 figures of debt to prove it. But the art thing, there's a lot of passion there. Ghost with the most, I just hope you can find a place that will appreciate your talents. Maybe you can get on with a smaller business looking for somebody, and maybe you get paid less in the beginning. You can get in on an ownership deal, get in with a brewery, get into some more creator-owned place and make a name for yourself. Because money is not this evil thing. You gotta have a certain quality of life to elevate, the next generation or whatever you're going to do. So I hope that you'll be able to find a way to get it. Because I know Adobe certification, I work with Adobe products quite a bit, like Photoshop, Illustrator. There was a book one I used for a while. I know, but one, they're expensive programs, and for you to be certified, I just hope somebody will. I hope you find a way to take your skills and use them for a better financial gain. But thank you for your super chat. I know you had to work and do 4,000 t-shirts to send that one in, so I appreciate that very much. Rocket Insano, what do you know? 40K Orcs is the best. Why? I do not know anything yet. Yesterday, somebody sent me an email about that. And if you've sent me an email and I haven't responded back, don't worry, I'm going to get to that later today. But personally, I don't know too much about it. The guys on World Class Bullshitters, while we have a wide knowledge of pop culture, Dion's your sci-fi guy, and Dion really just does Star Wars, Star Trek. Nick does some Battlestar Galactica and Stargate, and I do some Twilight Zone and other older sci-fi. Right now, I'm sitting down reading Ray Bradbury. I'm in the beginning of The Illustrated Man. Ray Bradbury is probably my favorite author. But I'm always down to check out more stuff. There'd be a nice break from the shitty Star Wars if I could find something I'm really into. But from what I keep hearing is that these SJW people are trying to get involved with the Warhammer 40K crap and ruin it that way. So is it a good time to get into it, or is it too late? Man, I'm slacking. I just finished my first cup of coffee. Ramo Greywolf, you only live twice as your favorite Bond. Hey, that's awesome. We can disagree all day, every day, but we can still have fun on the show. I think Sean Connery was very lazy in that one, and it shows. Trent, I'm glad you're enjoying the Timothy Dalton Bonds. I really love The Living Daylights. It's one of my top 5 favorites, so that's amazing. Caesarea, Japan. Not only did I see the James Bond Jr. cartoon, I own every toy, the video games. That was my favorite show. I was James Bond Jr. for Halloween in 92. They made a costume of it, and I'll never forget. It was one of those stupid vinyl suits, and it said James Bond Jr. across the chest. It had blue legs, and then and it came with a mask. And I went to my piano lessons to wear my costume, and the thing split right down the middle of the pants. I'll never forget. So my mom took me home, and she got me a jacket, and I had jeans and gym shoes that looked like James Bond Jr. So I basically wore the mask with a more accurate outfit. So I was little kid 90s cosplay before it actually was a thing. But I loved James Bond Jr. I know a lot of people shit on it nowadays. That's fine, man. But back in the day as a little kid, I still would watch it and enjoy it. It's not the greatest cartoon ever made, but it's definitely more watchable than a lot of the shit I had as a kid. Yeah, Jake, Living Daylights is a fantastic movie. I like I said, top 5 Bond films for me. Dalton's great. I love the story, the wide, sprawling nature. It's really interesting, though, to watch stuff that came out in that era, like Rambo 3 and The Living Daylights, where we, the good guys, the West, are basically fighting with the Taliban to stop the Soviets. And then, if you watch that in the early 2000s, the whole world's changed. So it's kind of funny how different we are from a political stance. But yeah, I stand by Living Daylights as a top 5 flick. Fantastic. Too bad License to Kill sucked ass. Commander Cody, your mom went to college? Hello, Napoleon. When did I graduate college? 2014 is when I graduated from college. I didn't like the homosexual bad guys in Diamonds Are Forever. Mr. Wint and Mr. Kid, they're actually one of the few parts of the movie I do like. I think the death of Mr. Gwent is one of the best moments in all of Bond movies, when Bond takes the baked Alaska's bomb and like shoves the guy's coat up his ass and he goes, ooh, and he like throws him off the fucking boat and he does a front flip and explodes. It's so bizarre. And that guy is George McFly's real life dad, Bruce Glover. So, oh man. Yep, somebody else knew that. Matthew Francis wrote that down. Sorry, I'm a little behind. Ken Jack Ben, I am not familiar with that episode of Star Trek Deep Space Nine. I've never seen an episode of Star Trek Deep Space Nine. I do the original series and the cartoons. The Captain Kirk era is the only Star Trek I really kind of get into. Ghost with the most, you want to get out of that field? Maybe audio production or even more creative route instead? You just find what worked for you, man. And if you can find a nice, viable career, go for it, dude. I'm all for that. I've jumped around from multiple things. And if you would have told me when I was in college, you won't be a comic book artist, you'll be on YouTube, I would have said, oh, that sounds cool. And then I may not believed you. And now you're here. So thanks to everybody. And don't be surprised where life may take you at times. Spy Who Loved Me is your personal favorite. It's a good one. Goldfinger, that's another good one. Let's see, trying to catch up on some of these. Her Majesty's Secret Cervix, that's a great one. I like that title alone. I would wear that on a t-shirt. I'm not going to see Skyscraper with The Rock. I still got to see Ant-Man. I'd love to meet The Rock and tell him what a fan I am of his wrestling and stuff like that, but the movies just don't do it for me, guys. There's just something about him. He basically plays a lesser version of himself. Like if you guys watched wrestling with The Rock the way I did, and you watched him every week, he was way more interesting and entertaining because he wasn't like trying to play concerned father or this or that or love interest. He was just like The Rock. And he was like this really cool concentration of badassery. I don't think a character like The Rock could exist nowadays in terms of wrestling. They wouldn't allow somebody to do what he's done. He was like an upper class version of Stone Cold Steve Austin in many ways, but just better. Thank you, HMSP77. That's a very nice compliment, and I appreciate that. A lot of people talking about their favorite James Bond stuff. It seems like I'm wrong in terms of James Bond love because so many people come out to talk about it. So I guess I do feel comfortable talking more about Bond. Man, there's a guy, somebody hired a gardener for across the street, and there's a giant lawnmower. I've never seen one that big before. Sorry if I'm distracted. Who do I think had more political power, Padme or Mon Mothma? Probably Mon Mothma because Padme died so early. Plus, like Mon Mothma, it's funny, like with Star Wars, these angry incel white guys that they like to blame, all these terrible things on. The guys never were pissed. I won't include myself in that thing, but I'll include myself as a Star Wars fan. We never once were mad that the women were like the generals or the leaders of, the Rebel Alliance and stuff like that. Like I never once thought Princess Leia was talking down to the troops on Hoth when she gave them the pep talk. Admiral Holdo was just so frigid and shitty that she was talking down to them. But Leia was cool. Mon Mothma was fine. And then Admiral Akbar rolled in and stuff like that. There was a much better level of equality in terms of male-female ratio of power in Star Wars. Now it's like they're trying to make up for some perceived slight against women in Star Wars that wasn't there. Oh, Leia had to be exposed in a gold bikini. You know what? Leia also killed one of the biggest bad guys in that gold bikini. Like, let's not forget that while Han and Luke were shooting stormtroopers and blowing up shit, Han was always on the run from Jabba the Hutt. For as badass as Han Solo was, he was always afraid of Jabba the Hutt. He owed him money, and guess what? Jabba the Hutt found a way to get him. Darth Vader respects Jabba the Hutt. Boba Fett respects Jabba the Hutt. And who kills Jabba? Princess Leia in her gold bikini. Let's not forget that. Aliens did have a badass female hero. Oh, Moonraker is the best. What the Sith is this? What the hell is that answer, man? Come on, man. I expect more out of you. Yes, WWF was so good back in the day. I was watching that, like I said, last night during the High Council. Because I just, I had an urge to watch some wrestling. Because I keep seeing the commercials for Skyscraper with The Rock, and I just think back When wrestling was great, when The Rock had hair. That's what I kind of use as my example. When were you a wrestling fan, Jeff? When The Rock had hair. I know what the Sith. It's cool. I get it. Yeah, Craig, I guess they can't look good in a bikini. Well, Kathleen Kennedy's a strong female, and she doesn't look good in a bikini. If Daisy Ridley's cast as a female Bond, that'd be stupid. She's not a very good actress at all. She's not even that good in Star Wars, and that's not saying much at all. She's just kind of there. My favorite Bond book is Live and Let Die or Moonraker. I got the whole collection of Ian Fleming's ones over here. Yeah, I'll go with those. One called was it High Time to Die from Raymond Benson? I really liked that one too. I want to get into the old John Gardner James Bond books. If you guys know who that is, he kind of took over after Ian Fleming passed away. The best Bond car is the Aston Martin DB5. There's no debate about that. That is my dream car. I looked into buying one this weekend. £750,000. So what is that, like $1 million almost or something? Or like 900,000 US dollars? Let's get those super chat rolls for the Aston Martin DB5. I'll live stream from that car every day. I'll live here in this crappy neighborhood, but I'll have an Aston Martin DB5. Logan Michael, thank you for your super chat. Ray was an 8-year-old boy this whole time. Oh man, you talk about a plot twist. That's like some M. Night Shyamalan level shit right there. Oh my god. Casino Royale and From Russia with Love are both fantastic books. I actually have to think back about Casino Royale. As I'm talking to you guys, I'm pulling out. I got the graphic novel adaptation of Casino Royale. It's not a very good book in terms of the art. They do a lot of tracing. It's very inconsistent tracing, but it's kind of cool. Casino Royale was a good book. The Fleming books are all fun, except for two. You Only Live Twice and For Your Eyes Only, which is the short story one. I don't really like those. But overall, when Bond's the main lead, like Goldfinger is much different from the movie, but it's still a good book. Ooh, a Shelby Mustang GT500. You guys will, if you're a car fan, you'd want to talk to my mom's boyfriend. He is a car enthusiast, and he does mechanic work on the side. So he not only does he like cars, but he knows all about them and how to do stuff. So I'm very fortunate to know somebody like that. Chano Cyber 9 Avila, don't worry about your profession, bro. I started as a store clerk, then musician, then welder, and now local truck driver. Good morning from LACA. Follow me on Twitter at Chanosaurus Rex1. You know what? I will start following you. Nick's got the let me can I copy and paste this from here? All right, cool. Copied, and then I'm going to paste it into this URL here, and I will follow you in a little bit, my friend. Thank you for all that you've done over the last couple of days and sticking with us. So basically, it sounds like your life was like Flashdance, welder by day, dancer by night. You were a welder by day, musician by night, maybe something like that. Local truck driver. My buddy's a local truck driver here in Cincinnati, and he makes pretty good money. Seems happy. He's got a family. I was always confused with what I wanted to do. I knew I wanted to get into some sort of like entertainment type of thing, but can't sing, can't dance, so I had to get out of the spotlight. And if you can tell me what that's a reference to, I will send you $1. Like, you give me your address, I'll mail you $1 flat out. That's a really obscure one, and I'd be impressed if anyone knew. But it's interesting to see where people start and where they end up. Like, look at Harrison Ford. He wanted to get into acting. He thought it was over. He got back into carpentry, and now he's probably the most respected actor of all time in terms of quality of work. Maybe he's a douche in real life, but he's something all right in terms of acting. But Chano Cyber 9 Avila, we must be hitting you pretty damn early, so hopefully you were already up for the show. I know Logan Michael, I'm pretty sure he gets up to listen to the show, which is awesome. I felt bad when we didn't have one last week for him because he messaged me, but we're back, man. Like, seriously, I'm so happy to be up at the crack of dawn to talk about this shit every day. I did not see Murder on the Orient Express. I think there's a sequel, though. Well, it's what is it? It's Hercule Poirot. So who wrote that? not Emily Bronte, whoever wrote those. I think the next whatever story that Poirot appears in, there's a sequel to this one getting fast tracked. So you can get a DB4 for $350K. It looks just as cool. I think the one in Goldfinger was a modded DB4. Sure, guys, I'll get that one and I'll get it modded to look just like the one from Goldfinger, and I'll be fine. I no one needs to know. They'll say it's the James Bond car, and I'll look at it and say it is. You think anyone will go to episode 9? Of course, people are going to go to episode 9. It's going to be less of a hit than before, but it's still going to make money. If I told you guys it's going to make $40,000 or $40 million, it's going to flop, I would be other channels that are giving you this bullshit to rally the anger towards or around. No, episode 9 is going to make hundreds of millions of dollars, but it's going to make hundreds of millions of dollars less than what came before it. Jumanji, the week before, is going to hurt Star Wars. Wicked, the day of, is going to hurt Star Wars. Thursday, guys, hold me to this. And if I'm wrong, I'll apologize next year. You're going to see a ton of articles come out about how episode 9 made so much money on its midnight release into Thursday. And then it's going to be all about, the whatever thing. So we'll see where we are next year. But I'm going by that. They're going to make the Thursday night release a lot more. They're going to publicize that a lot more than they normally would. I feel good about turning 30 this year. I'm having a big party, so it's going to be a lot of fun. I hang out with people that are about the same age as me. I don't feel bad about that. I'm excited. I'm excited for the future, guys. Agatha Christie. Okay, that's your name. Sorry. When it came to, I went to a private school, and for English, we didn't read like any of the classics. I think we stuck with a lot of American classics, right? John Steinbeck's American, isn't he? Grapes of Wrath and all that crap. Mark Twain. I don't know. I was a good student, but I don't remember a ton of stuff from high school. This Ray Bradbury book is the first recreational book I've read that's not a comic or something to help me with my channel or art in years. So it feels weird getting back into that. Goldeneye is an underrated film, man. Goldeneye is an underrated film. I think I've said this before, and I'll say it again. The fact that Pierce Brosnan was replaced by Daniel Craig has turned a lot of people off to his James Bond. Once we get the next Bond, there'll be a resurgence of, hey, Pierce Brosnan was pretty damn good. Same thing with Michael Keaton Batman. If Facebook would have been as prevalent as it is now back in 2008, people would have been shitting on Michael Keaton through memes all the time. But now that Christian Bale's over and we're to the Ben Affleck era, people are loving on Michael Keaton again. I've always been a fan. Same with Pierce Brosnan. Always will be a fan. He was the guy that was meant to be Bond. His story's real interesting. Marvel characters, I think that would make a great game. A Punisher game would be awesome. I don't think Captain America and Iron Man would make really great games, but like a realistic character that can be damaged is always better. So I'm going to go with Punisher. That's my best answer straight up. Chano Cyber 9 Avila. Yeah, how'd you know? Welder by day, rocking in Vegas, open for corn one time in my hometown of Bakersfield, California. By the way, I'm a night truck driver. Been up since 3 p.m. yesterday. It's almost 7 a.m. here. First off, dude, be safe on the road. We were closely related to someone who's a truck driver, long-distance truck driver, so I've been to every state in the continental 48 except the Dakotas because of truck trips. So actually about 20 years ago, this summer, I would have been on a road trip because I remember we went to every Burger King to look for all the Small Soldiers toys that summer. I got them all. Small Soldiers turned 20 yesterday, by the way, folks. If you haven't seen it, nostalgia won't even play a factor in it for me. I thought it was going to be a great movie, and it was just okay. I had all the toys, though. I thought those were cool. Did you really open for Korn, though? That's fucking cool. I only know a couple of their songs, but that's crazy to think that like when people go to these big concerts to see their favorite acts openers for them, that's cool, man. If you don't mind asking, why'd you get out of the music? Did you just lose your love for it, or real life money stuff came into play or whatever? Like if you got videos of stuff and you want to tell people about where your music can be found, our Facebook page, yours to share it on. But man, that's so cool. I know the Pixies opened for Weezer the other night, and that's a band I'd never even really listened to. But Korn, that's awesome. My friend that from Chicago, the one about the Great Pizza Tour, he loved Korn. We used to listen to that stuff all the time. I always think of that Todd McFarlane video. That was what, a Freak on a Leash, the animated one. He directed that. So what's going on, man? Like Migs, it's coming home. Tell the people it's coming home. What are we singing that song for? I just think of those damn wrestling memes. All right, so here we go. More super chats. Rocket Insano. Nowadays, Bond would be sent after Twitter users. Like the opening Casino Royale about, the second kill is considerably easier or whatever. What did I do? Twitter. Boom. Shoots him and leaves. That'd be fucking harsh. That'd be harsh as shit. But, I guess we deserve, that for our indiscretions, our thought crimes, our word crimes. Shoot me, Bond. Shoot me. Chano Cyber Night Avila. I'm only 25. No bullshit. Got nothing to gain by it. Well, then it's not too late for you to find your true calling in life and make it big. You thought Pierce looked a bit wimpy for Bond. He is a very, ladies man, because all the women in my family are always like, oh, he's so handsome, he's this. But as a kid, when I'd watched him, he actually was believable in a fight. Roger Moore wasn't believable in a fight. And off the top of my head, Pierce Brosnan James Bond is the only one to shoot somebody in the face at point blank range. I don't think we give enough credit to Brosnan's Bond for showing a darker side to 007. I did not play the Punisher game for Xbox, but I know about it. Back then, I was, what was that, 04 when that game came out? I was just doing a lot of wrestling games or Grand Theft Auto. And I had an Xbox, but I was doing a lot of my gaming on the PS2, very little on the GameCube. American Trent 421. Chano's the man. Favorite Bond villains? Trevelyan? Yes, Chano is the man. He's the real MVP of this week's show. And I mean all of them so far. Let's see. Favorite Bond villain? Trevelyan's a damn good one. Might be my actual favorite Bond villain in terms of film. Blofeld's overrated. I like, what's his name from For Your Eyes Only? Christados. He's kind of cool and interesting because you don't know he's the bad guy and then he is. I like Max Zorn. I like A View to a Kill. It's not a great movie, but it's the most 80s of the James Bond flicks, and I enjoy the hell out of it for what it is. It feels very much like a contemporary 80s American action picture, and I like that. It's funny. It's got a kick-ass song. The title sequence is amazing. And Christopher Walken is so cool. Let's see. Am I missing any more of these super chats? Okay. Music industry is a nightmare. I can play a little bit on the piano here and there, but I don't follow a lot of modern music. Not to try to sound like a hipster or anything like that. It's never been, I stopped listening to a lot of modern music in 03 is when I stopped listening to rap music, and then I stopped listening to a lot of rock music around Nickelback. Yuck. You're going to see Weezer. You're going to see Weezer / Pixies tonight in Pittsburgh. They kicked ass. They got us. I got into the pit for free, so I was about 12 feet from the guys on stage. It rocked. It was a great show. If you like that kind of music, Weezer puts on a hell of a show. John, if you're back here tomorrow in the morning, please let me know if they had the rotating set like they did here in Cincinnati. It was pretty damn cool. I think Disney would probably be pissed off at the way his company's become. I think he would have been more aggressive in the 70s and 80s, and Disney would have never been in the situation of almost being bought up by another corporate entity like they were in 1980, the 80s. We'll just say the 80s. The funny thing is I actually like a lot of the 80s Disney movies because they're smaller scale. They're a little more realistic. The Great Mouse Detective is one of my all-time favorites. I think that's a really underrated Disney flick that I enjoy the hell out of. But I don't know what they would think. Oh, what do I think about Joaquin Phoenix as the Joker? It's funny you bring that up. I actually was gonna have a thing about it on the show this morning. Where did I put that article, guys? Here it is. If I can find it. Glad you brought that up. I wanted to bring this up myself. I'm going to go down and see if there's any super chats. I'm going to talk about this. I hope there is a super chat. Let's see who it came from. Our good friend Rocket and Santa. Did Eastwood and Ford ever do anything together? Not that I know of. Let's see. So Clint Eastwood had all those spaghetti westerns in the 60s, and he was on like a TV show, I think, before that. Harrison Ford was a nobody. He was busy making dirty, hairy flicks when Harrison Ford was doing pre-stuff and then Star Wars. And in the 80s, I don't think, no, I've seen almost every Harrison Ford movie. Yeah, I don't think so. Off the top of my head, I could be missing one obscure one from like an early 2000s thing, but no, I'm going to go with they've never done anything Rocket and Sano. Chano Cyber 9 Avila got out of it. Touring can tire you out. Didn't want to do the drugs or being different women every night isn't healthy for a 19-year-old. I wish I had videos, but the owner of the band would now sue me. Oh shit, okay. So it was like serious type of thing. I don't do the drugs. The different ladies can be fun, but yeah, I get it. After a while, it does lose the luster. If you ever want to tell me what the name of the band is, just so I can check it out, you know how to contact me, worldclassbs@mail.com, thebestmail.com. And just to check it out if they're a thing nowadays, just out of curiosity. Like I said, I don't want you to get in trouble or any of this shit. And I'm sure you definitely made your, you made the right choice doing what you're doing. Don't worry, man. It'll come back around. Maybe somebody will find you on here, check you out. Like you hear your name, find a way to contact you, and you'll, be in another band. Maybe there's people on YouTube right now that need what do you play, guitar? I'm guessing. Maybe you're a drummer. Who knows? Like you said, you're 25. You're only 4 years younger than me, but you never know where life's going to take you, man. I thought that the Jinx movie would have been a terrible idea back in the day. So I wasn't a fan. All kinds of people talking about the concerts they've been to. I've seen Kiss in concert as well. Let's see. What's my favorite Kevin Costner movie? Untouchables? That's him, right? I'll go with that one. Abomino, I've never heard of those bands. I listen to a lot of 80s shit, guys. Like my musical choices wouldn't interest you. Unless you like the music from Beverly Hills Cop, you probably wouldn't want to ride around in a car with me listening to music. I'd turn the music off so we could talk. Logan Michael, what's the film where Harrison Ford is retarded? It's called Regarding Henry, and he's shot, and he loses his mental faculties, and he has to. I think he paints a box of Ritz crackers or something. Like when I was a kid, I used to watch anything with Harrison Ford in it just because I liked Harrison Ford. And then a funny thing is, though, when we would watch these Harrison Ford movies, I was in the back of my mind counting down for when I could put on Star Wars or Indiana Jones. Like a lot of times we would be up late watching a Harrison Ford movie, and then I'd stay up even later to put on Temple of Doom. I'd fall asleep before the plane crashed. But either way, I had to get my my Harrison Ford, Indiana Jones, or Han Solo fix. And the guy was like, I always said The Rock was like a real life superhero when I was younger because he was like larger than life and cool. But Harrison Ford, his characters were just so cool to me, and anything he was in, I had to watch, even if I wasn't like that demographic. What 80s music? Oh, man, all kinds of stuff. I like some of the new wave, weird, funky shit. Some of the rock, none of the country. Country in no decade is my friend. It just depends. I like a lot of synth wave shit. I play around on my keyboard a lot and do that kind of stuff. So, Dylan Kerbal, thank you very much. Donnie Darko versus Nightcrawler versus American Psycho. Oh my god, that is a hard question. Versus American Psycho. I would need to watch all three again, but let me tell you, based on my recollection, Donnie Darko is great. I've watched it the most of the three. I really like Donnie Darko. But then again, I only saw Nightcrawler once, but I was blown away with that one viewing. I thought Nightcrawler kicked so much ass. It was great. American Psycho, I love that movie too for so many reasons. I love the music. I love Christian Bale's performance. Do I like Huey Lewis in the news? All that stuff. And the whole did he not dynamic. I don't want to spoil it for anyone that's never seen the movie. If you're a fan of the movie, you definitely know what I'm talking about. And of those three, though, man, I'm just gonna for now, as of July 11th, 2018, I'm gonna go with Donnie Darko because I've seen it the most. But I really, oh man, I like all three. They were all very enjoyable watches. Donnie Darko took me a couple of viewings to really fully understand what I saw because I watched it in college with my friend Toph. But Nightcrawler and American Psycho hit for me right away. I caught those on Netflix years ago, and I was just super, super into those movies. I need to pick them up, actually. Midnight Cherry TV, I forgot to tell you, I busted out the Beverly Hills Cop soundtrack vinyl at a party the other day. Best reaction of the night. Hell yeah. Now, because it was the vinyl, I know it was the movie soundtrack, not the score. Tell me what song you played. Did you just play Axel F to get a surprise, or did you play anything else from the soundtrack, like that Danny Elfman song, Gratitude, or anything like that? As like a 10-year-old kid, I had it on CD, and I was like singing shit that no one had ever heard of. As an adult, I'll play a couple songs from there, and people are just like, "What is this from?" Like Beverly Hills Cop, man, Beverly Hills Cop. Yeah, hey, isn't that Devin Graham? That Ant-Man and the Wasp is the first Marvel movie that I didn't see on opening night, MCU, and this is the first Marvel movie I haven't seen in theaters on opening weekend, and in general since like X-Men. I do want to go see it. If I didn't have stuff to do today, I would be going right after this show, but I got to work on a video, get to the gym, other things like that. So I will catch it. I really think I might catch it tomorrow if Nick and Dion want to talk about it for the show tomorrow night. If it's the case, after the show, I'll grab something to eat and I'll go watch Ant-Man and the Wasp. Logan Michael, thank you very much for your super chat. I have a Vice City playlist. Well, then you have a list of good music because Vice City has a great soundtrack. Now, that's more along the lines of the shit I actually listen to. Like, a lot of those songs are on my phone. And when I'm at the gym or in my car and I put on the 80s playlist, that's stuff that'll pop up. A lot of times, though, I'll make a playlist of, like, songs to play with other people in the car because I really don't need to be out with some people and all of a sudden, like, the Star Wars theme plays. Like, you're going to get a look like, huh? Or obscure James Bond music will play. Maybe it's a little too funky for them, but their kids are going to love it. Chano Cyber 9 Avila, when you're almost pro, the sad reality of it is that you're property of the record company. I want to start over and be my own boss. I play rhythm guitar, a bit of bass guitar, and keytar. Only play for fun. Oh, man. So you must be like one of those child prodigy musicians. You're what my mom wanted me to be on the piano as a little kid. She made me take the lessons and I hated it. So I took them and dealt with it. Now as an adult, I practice all the time just for fun. Because down the road, guys, at the end of the year on Black Friday, they usually do like a sales at Guitar Center, and especially on like the software, I'm gonna get a new keyboard and a couple setups, and I'm gonna do all the music for the show, and just have fun with that. Use it as a show thing. But man, almost pro. Part of the capitalist in me would sell out, but I get it too. I guess because I look at it from another aspect, like, oh man, you're almost this pro musician, this and that. I'm not saying you and I are in the same boat, but it would be like if I sold out to an MCN and did all this stuff and basically became like a Collider or something. I get it. Now that I think about it like that, I completely understand where you came from. So, definitely be your own boss, man. And if you ever need help reaching people, you can come to us and we'll, get ears to your music. No problem. Regarding Henry is written by J.J. Abrams, I believe it. Christian Bale, could he have been a good Joker, like an American? Maybe if he was a good Batman, why couldn't he be the Joker? He likes Huey Lewis in the news. I'll see Captain Marvel for the same reason I'll see Star Wars Episode 9, because I have to for the channel. Yes, I've seen Heavy Metal and Heavy Metal 2000. I know this is dumb, but I actually hate watch Heavy Metal. I don't like the movie because it's so shitty, but it's got a ton of nudity in it, so I'll watch it for that. And I kind of watch it because it's cheap and shitty. Like, I wouldn't call it a quality picture, but I've seen it so many times out of spite, if that makes any sense whatsoever. Yes, that was a Back to the Future reference. Chano Cyber 9 Avila. But the world loves a comeback. Currently working on a song. Been working on it for 5 months. Work schedule gets in the way. everybody does love a comeback. Man, that Robert Downey Jr. comeback is probably the greatest story in entertainment. You know, you go from literally being a punchline in an alleyway, strung out on drugs, to the greatest superhero possibly ever on screen. So if Robert Downey Jr. can do it, you can have a big comeback too. You know, make it big, man. Just don't forget us when you're at the top. Give us a shout out at whatever, I don't know, what's a big concert? You know, Woodstock 2099. Don't forget us there. Logan Michael says Spinal Tap is the best. Thank you for your super chat. Logan Michael, were you there for our Spinal Tap live stream Let's Watch party? Because I hope you were. If you weren't, go back and check it out. That was channel dad Brian Lape's birthday choice for his Patreon thing. And if you're a patron of the channel and you know, are a certain tier and you want to do birthday stuff or anything, you just let us know. Give us a couple weeks notice and we'll make stuff happen. Ghost with the Most. Thank you for your super chat. I make original music and remixes as a hobby. I haven't had a record deal or anything, and I'm still experimenting with the sounds that I want to go for. But that's like the most fun, where you can just sit down at night and just play around with it. Ghost with the Most, if you have a chance, check out a channel called Reverb. Same for you, Chano. Ghost 9 Avila. Make sure Chano Cyber 9 Avila. I'll make sure I get those names right. You guys should check out the Reverb channel. They do a lot of cool stuff about music, and you learn a lot how to create certain sounds and stuff like that. As somebody that wouldn't call myself a musician, but somebody who dabbles for fun, maybe like you, the Ghost with the Most, it's a good channel, and I find myself watching videos on shit I don't even care about because it's a cool, well-produced video series. If you haven't seen a Black Cauldron, it actually has a villain in it that scared me as a kid. You know, it's funny, Bo Weatherby. I was actually listening to my horror podcast on the way to get some coffee, and they were talking about the Black Cauldron, so I need to check that movie out. Alpha Terranima. I highly recommend the soundtrack to the game VA11 Valhalla. Fits perfectly for night or winter drive playlist. All right, well, hold on. Let's write this down. Okay, I wrote it down now. So when it gets colder, I'm going to check it out, or at night. I usually listen to a song called Summer Madness by Kool and the Gang at nighttime in the summer. It's in Grand Theft Auto Vice City, Logan Michaels, so it's like a really cool synthy jazz song with no words. You know what? If you're going to listen to this later on Podbean and all that shit, that's the song I'm going to close out this episode with. It's a great song, one of my all-time favorites. You know, certain bands have music I hate, like Kool and the Gang. I hate that song Celebrate. I think that's one of the worst songs ever made, but Summer Madness is one of the best songs ever made. So it's kind of fun and funny how a band can go from shit to awesome or whatever, depending on your taste. I see some talk asking me about Brie Larson being attractive and her ass being a pancake ass. She's not ugly. She has a nice smile. She just seems so unlikable, so that's a turn off. I thought she was okay looking in Kong Skull Island and 21 Jump Street. L Argo 30, what movie are we watching on Friday? We're watching Star Wars The Last Jedi, and that's not a joke. It's on Netflix. I expect everyone to be here. We have 65,000 and change in the subscriber base. We need 60,000 plus watching that with us live. It's going to be a clusterfuck of fun, if that's even a thing. Oh my god. Mutale Muwanaski. Oh my god, there's too many to name. We could go on for 20 minutes. Bad Guy from the Dark Crystal scared the fuck out of me as a child. I need to see the Dark Crystal. I grew up watching different stuff as a kid. I think villains that scared me as a child, what's his name? Charles Dance from Last Action Hero with that eyeball thing, that kind of freaked me out. Freddy Krueger scared the piss out of me. I mean, it's Freddy Krueger. And, man, I'm not, as an adult, not afraid, clearly, but as a kid, it got me. American Trent, 421, thank you for your super chat. Speaking of Bond, Robert Davi's a talented singer. Yes, he is. He was a great singer in the Goonies, but I know he has albums and stuff out, too. I think he had a hot wife, like a really hot wife at one point in time, too. So good for him. I mean, he's got that Edward James almost oatmeal going on, but he was able to score a really hot wife. So Robert Davi must be doing something awesome. Logan Michael, did you know that Self Control is a cover? The late in Vice City, or the woman that sings it? What's her fucking face? Something Brannigan, Laura Branigan. I didn't know that was. If that's not an original song by her, I was not aware that's a cover. It's funny that you bring up that song, because when you were talking about your Vice City soundtrack playlist, that's the first song that was playing in my memory or my mind. I like that song quite a bit. It's in Miami Vice, so if a song's in Miami Vice, I'm probably going to download it and try to listen to it. One of my all-time favorite names, Herpicus McDurpington. This is for the booze, fun for the watch party. Thank you very much. I'm going to need all the booze I can to get through it. And then the funny part, by the way, Mutali, it's probably going to be like 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, maybe 10. I'll talk to the other guys. Just follow the Twitter, the Facebook, and all that stuff, and I'll make sure I make many announcements as soon as we get a time locked down, because I don't want to have anybody miss that. What we're going to do is we're going to talk about the movie for a couple minutes and where we are as a community of fans, and then we'll start the watch party. So if you make it within the first 10 to 15 minutes, think of it as like the previews for a movie. They tell you the movie starts at 7, the previews are on until 7:30, and then the movie starts. So maybe it won't be a 30-minute preview session, but I will definitely keep you guys up to date for the times and everything. But Herpicus McDurpington, thank you. I might spring for something a little fancy. The villain that scared me as a kid was Tim Curry. Tim Curry's awesome. He was the voice of the Joker before Mark Hamill replaced him, and that's not a myth. They say it on the official DVDs. He recorded a couple episodes worth of dialogue, so I would love to hear what the Tim Curry Joker sounded like. Maybe they should put that on the DC streaming service. That would be a lot of fun stuff. I've never heard of any of the Jan Hammer stuff outside of Miami Vice. Oh yeah, sorry guys, this Joaquin Phoenix Joker thing. And Dylan, I'm glad you're excited for the viewing party. It's going to be fun. And if you don't drink, that's fine. But whatever your vice is, even if it's just a can of Coke, sit down and indulge with us as we suffer through that movie together. Because we're doing it for you guys. We want to entertain you on Friday, the unluckiest day of the year, Friday the 13th. So, this is from the Hollywood Reporter. Joaquin Phoenix Joker origin movie, a go at Warner Brothers. Phoenix recently finalized his deal to star as Batman's iconic arch nemesis in the villain's origin story. So what do you guys think about this? Abominable, I read yours. Sorry, that caught me off guard. I've never seen enough of either to give you an honest opinion. No, but about this Joaquin Phoenix thing, before we close out this morning's show, I don't think it's a good idea to give a Joker origin story. I know it sounds hypocritical with that stance because of how much I love Batman 89, but at the same time, I don't need to know more than they tell us in that movie. It's enough. Also, Batman 89 was the first Batman movie per se. I know there was the 66 or 7 one with Adam West, but to introduce Batman in a new, more modern setting, you kind of needed to give motivation and a little history for the Joker character. Now, the world we live in with The Dark Knight, it worked about the mystery aspect. I think they're actually regressing by giving the Joker an origin story. Watch Mask of the Phantasm to see the Joker as a low-level thug who has an accident and then becomes the Joker. I really don't want to watch 2 hours of Joaquin Phoenix being called Jack Napier saying, fuck this, fuck that, and then at the end of the movie he meets Batman or some shit like that. And if he's the Joker and Batman's not in this movie, that's dumb. And if you have a young Batman, that's stupid too, because they're going to have like a really old Joker and super young Batman. I'm not saying they need to be the same age, but it works when they're closer in age. Like what is Joaquin Phoenix, 45 or 50 almost? 50-year-old Joker and 30-year-old Batman, whatever. If they stick with the Alan Moore thing, that doesn't really help with the time. Demo Rises, thank you very much for your super chat. Who destroyed the galaxy better, Kennedy or Palpatine? Well, under Palpatine's rule, there was a lot of structure and order. Under Kennedy's rule, there's been nothing but chaos and hot garbage. So I'm going to have to answer with Palpatine. That's a world I'd rather live in. Cesaro Japan, Golden Child is an okay movie. It's not a worthy follow-up to Beverly Hills Cop, but it's okay. Chano Cyber 9 Avila, thank you very much. Not a prodigy. I'm just a kid from Los Angeles with a hobby. The last thing I remember about my music days, our manager was talking to Marvel to put our song on the Avengers album, but they chose BVB instead. Holy shit, that's cool. That is really cool. I guess LA is a different world compared to Ohio. I mean, when people think of Ohio, they probably think we're all working on farms or other shit. I don't live anywhere near a farm. I live in a big city. So, whatever. No, that's still cool, man. I definitely want to hear some of the stuff you were involved with, just out of curiosity. If you want to email me a link or anything, like I said, worldclassbs@mail.com. I just want to hear it just out of curiosity now after we had this discussion. I think the 500 plus people, we've never gone below 500 on today's show. I think all 500 people that have stuck around are now curious about it. So, like the one guy that works for let's see, no more origin stories. Dan Vinoy, expect a low turnout for the Last Jedi watch party. You're inviting people to a self-psychological torture. Yeah, but it's the internet. People will definitely. I mean, if Cecil and Nurkish can get an audience to watch their show, we can definitely get people to listen to us watch The Last Jedi. But thank you, Dan Vinoy. I appreciate your super chat. And if you're right, I'll be the first to admit it on next Tuesday's Good Morning Pop Culture. When will Pat of Please Rewind be on the High Council? If we can make it happen, I'll get him on the next show, Tuesday the 17th. That's my show, and I'd love to have the guy on. So I haven't heard back from Razorfist. Initially, Razorfist was interested, but when I gave him the date, I didn't hear anything back. So maybe he didn't check his message, or there's a conflict or something. But if I don't hear back from him, I'm just going to throw out a feeler to Pat, and if they both are there, they're both there. You guys had two guests last night with Jesse and Ivan Ortega. By the way, Ivan Ortega is a really great guy. Make sure you subscribe to his channel. And Jesse's cool too. You should already be subscribed to her. But yeah, if they're both on the show, they're both on the show. Everybody wins that way. Rocket Insano. I keep thinking of Captain Insano, who shows no moisty. It would only work as a series of shorts with different explanations that ends with Joker being interviewed at Arkham. That'd be kind of cool if they broke it up and did like a Joker anthology origin story. It could have been this way. It could have been that way type of thing if they go that truly crazy route. I'm afraid we're going to get that. What was that Joaquin Phoenix movie from a couple years ago where he's like a drugged out journalist or something? I feel like we're going to get that with Batman in the background. So, that's about it. I don't know how we're going to do that. But I like your idea, Rocket Insano. More so than we're going to get. But if this is the one that Scorsese's attached to and all that shit, I'm going to reserve judgment because I consider those guys a step above your Jared Leto's and David Ayers of the world. And I don't even think David Ayers is a bad director or writer or whatever he does. I just think that Suicide Squad is dog shit. And Mask of the Phantasm is amazing. I just got the Blu-ray. To Darth Platypus, Ohio equals industrial. Okay, that's a good thing to think of it. Logan Michael, if you go to Dallas Toy Show, if you go to Dallas, go to the Dallas Vintage Toys. If I go to Dallas, I will definitely go. If I go to Texas, dude, you're going to be the first person to get a message over on Patreon like, hey, we're in Texas. Do you want to meet up for lunch and go looking at toys or some shit like that? So it ain't going to be happening this year because I pretty much got my year planned out in terms of travel, but you never know what 2019 could bring us. And hopefully 2020 gets us to San Diego Comic-Con. That's the goal. And we're going to keep growing far past 100. We're like really close to getting to 100,000. We're past the halfway mark, and we started at 10,000. So we'll be at 100,000 by the end of the year. We'll get to San Diego Comic-Con in the future. I'll put down the money for the table, and through the show like this, we'll just take a couple of weeks worth of super chats, get an expensive table at the Comic-Con, and spread the word that way. Oh my God, this is just so crazy, but we're gonna be there. Trust me, it's gonna be a lot of fun. But Logan Michael, if I'm ever in Texas. The stream got cut. Can people not hear me? no, I don't think. Let's see. Gavin Smith. You know. Oh shit! Hold on. Where we popped? Can you guys do a drinking game while you watch Batman and Robin? Yeah, I can do that for I'll get the world class bullshitters, guys. Because Ethan and Jeremy, we're the high council. We probably just do mostly Star Wars, but on world class bullshitters, we cover a lot more facets of entertainment. And that would be something that you want Dion, Kendo, and Nick involved with because the it's gonna be great. Do you think Lucasfilm would do a Palpatine movie before episode 1? That could be cool, but I guess he'd have to be, officially Darth Plagueis type of thing. Oh, let's see. Alpha Terra Nemo. Imagine what a shit show the media would be if Catwoman came out in 2018. Oh my god. The movie was a shit show in 2004. Yeah, because they would be conflicted. They couldn't accurately critique the film. Well, did the media kowtow to Ocean's 8 and Tomb Raider? Those movies were they did what they did and they've already been forgotten about. That's what I think The Last Jedi should have been. It should have been, did what it did and then been forgotten about. But they keep bringing it on. They keep egging us on. They would have been like, oh, it's the first. You know what? Let's stop talking about Wonder Woman being the first female superhero film. Catwoman came out in 2004 in many ways, and Catwoman's really not the villain. She's kind of like a Venom. She's an anti-hero, can be a hero depending on the story. Wonder Woman's not the first female-led action flick, or superhero action-led flick. Catwoman is. And it was garbage, but hey, it was first. But yeah, the media would be conflicted. Oh, it's a black minority superhero, blah, 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 blah. We got to love it, but it sucks. What do we do? They'll lose credibility just to build up a movie. Let's see. Chano Cyber 9 Avila. All right. I'll look and see what I can get my hands on and get away with. I'll send you a vid as soon as I can. I can't promise. Not, I'll make one called No Bullshit. Thank you. Thank you to everyone. This has been a great morning. Shano, I'm glad we learned a lot about you. You're a very interesting listener of the show. I always like to think that some celebrity or somebody listens, but your life is probably way more interesting than half of these people out there. If Taylor Swift listened to our show, who gives a shit about Taylor Swift? I know she's on 4chan or whatever, or that was a rumor. But thank you to everyone who stuck with us this morning. We've had a lot better turnouts this week than we have in the past. Our Good Morning Pop Culture is becoming even bigger than it used to be. Oh, McKinney90, what's up? How about Wonder Woman is the first good female superhero flick? Yeah, I thought Wonder Woman was pretty solid. I think, I give it a 7 out of 10 on the channel last year? I don't remember all the reviewing or the ratings I've given movies, but whatever I gave it last year on the channel, I'll stick with. It was a pretty solid flick. The ending fell apart, but Gal Gadot or Gadot or however you pronounce it was good enough. She was really pretty, and I liked that she wasn't talking down to men. She was kind of what's the word I'm looking for? Not inquisitive. She basically was in awe of man's world and wasn't talking down to everybody. When it came to fighting, she knew what to do. I liked the movie enough to own the Blu-ray, but then again, I think I got it for $7, so I don't know if that's a compliment or not. Oh yeah, Supergirl from the 80s was the first female superhero movie. Boom, Helen Slater, right? Or is it Helen Shaver? I don't know. Yeah, that movie sucked. Whew, it was first. It had what's his face from Die Hard? Ellis. That was the love interest. He didn't get shot in the head. He just survived somehow. Midnight Cherry TV. Cecil and Nurkish lead Comicsgate. Love them both. They're fine guys. I've talked to them both off air. They're much better off air than on air. Nurkish is pretty smart. I mean, I know he's doing whatever he does on air, and that's fine. I'm not here to, harsh his thing, but I like to talk to him off air when it's less produced. There was a week when we were doing the High Council where Ethan disappeared, and Nurkish and I talked for quite a while. I don't know if that's on one of the shows, but yeah. I want to get Cecil on here, like a breakfast with Cecil type of thing, where he wakes up kind of hungover, and you guys ask him a bunch of fucked up questions. That'll be a lot of fun. So, all right. So we made it through the super chats. Yeah, Linda Carter was hot. I'm not even going to deny that shit. Do I think Michael Fassbender would make a great Lex Luthor? Anyone better than Jesse Eisenberg? I still think Bryan Cranston. I know that was like the fanboy casting, but Bryan Cranston, man, come on. I watched every episode of Breaking Bad. He can be serious. He can be fun. I believe him as like that philanthropist type of guy. The Gene Hackman Lex Luthor. We need to move past that and bring the Clancy Brown, John Byrne style corrupt businessman to screen, and use corporate politics, and that's how you can put some modern politics into a Superman flick, where you have this evil businessman type of thing, and then Superman stands for truth, justice, and the American way type of thing. So that's what we do. So, folks, thank you for sticking with Good Morning Pop Culture. I'll be back tomorrow morning, same time, same channel, 7:45 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, same place, World Class Bullshitters, and we'll discuss anything. Realistically, we talk about everything on this show. We go from Star Wars to comics to movies to, musicians who are going to work on the Avengers album. So we have everything here on World Class Bullshitters. And no, I have not seen the Wonder Woman pile with Adrian Palicki, but I've seen the images. And I'm so glad that show never got made. I'm glad we had to wait for Gal Gadot or Gadot, much like we had to wait for the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man movie. We didn't get that James Cameron one in the 90s, but in 2002, the Tobey Maguire one came out, and it really did change the world of superhero films. Logan Michael, thank you for super chat. Thanks for the stream, and have a good one. Logan Michael, you have a better one. Everyone, you have a great day. Like I said, I'll be back. Tonight, we're doing our Patreon stuff off air, so if you're a patron, be excited. We're getting back into the swing of things with getting exclusive content over on Patreon. So there's a lot of you over there now. Make sure that you check that out. It should be up tomorrow morning / tonight. So I don't know exactly what's going to happen. But yes, Hammer of Crom, you will see me tomorrow. I'll be back and better than ever. So thank you to everyone, and have a good day.